just bastardizing our childhood and the classics.
Chris.
Nintendogs drove me. It's what makes me want to hurt people.
Radical.
People in general still bitch about everything. It still doesn't change.
Let the podcast begin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the VCR Podcast, the only podcast that predates itself from the moment the title is spoken. Adam, aka AskcsRadical, here with you guys. Vish and Chris here with me as well. Episode 48. We are almost at 50. Holy goddamn shit.
Yeah, we've been doing this consistently somehow.
Yeah, I know.
Like we only missed 1 week.
Been doing it consistently to no consistent audience, too.
Yes, and we haven't killed Adam yet.
Hey, I'm still listening to every episode.
Well, at least it's somebody.
This is true.
You weren't supposed to tell us that you're our listener, dude.
We've known this for a long time. It's been a running gag, in fact.
Yeah, since episode 1.
I know.
That really should be like, if we ever make t-shirts, that would be Chris's shirt. Like, literally his branded shirt would be like, VCR Podcast first number one fan, or like original fan. Like we have like the fan card, and he'd be member number 00001 or whatever.
No. You know what? Just for him, we're gonna give him member number 69.
No. That's no. You got to work for 69. Nope. But there's only one number.
I haven't done much work.
Vish, you're our number 2.
Nice.
Poop.
Adam, you're 0.
I know, because I don't exist, and sometimes I wish I didn't.
Well, this just got dark.
Just happened.
Welcome to the VCR Podcast, where sometimes I talk about killing myself.
And we have a really, really morbid existential crisis.
That's pretty normal. Don't kid yourself.
Oh, good God. I had one really badly for the past few months. Really badly.
Look, it's 2020. You're not the only one. In fact, it's basically like a full universal club at this point.
Well, there's the best meme I've seen this week is it's no longer 5 o'clock anywhere, 5 o'clock somewhere. It's 2020 everywhere, and you can drink anytime you want. It's okay.
Yeah.
Except me. I can't drink.
That is true. Well, we're just, you know what? Next year, it's the Leafs year. So you finish up about Crown Royal.
I said I'd take a shot. I didn't say I'd finish it.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, this is true.
Chris and I will
grew
finish it for
exponentially.
you.
Yeah, we upgraded from like me taking one shot to you're just going to chug the whole bottle. I'm like, I'm going to die probably.
Yeah. How about we just have a shot with Adam, and then we'll finish what he doesn't want?
I kind of, well, you might want to keep the bottle just in case something else happens,
So keep the bottle. Adam,
true.
that is okay. Oh, you know what? He has to save it for 3 shots for when the Blue Jays win the World Series.
No, I said that it was 3 shots if they won this World Series.
No. I mean, dude. I mean, us 3. You have one. I have one.
Okay. I don't know if I take a shot for the Jays winning. Because the Jays winning is something I could actually see happening because it's been done in my memory.
I get that, but it's been so long, and you know what? It actually has it. The gap of Canadian major championships, the year is only 1 right now.
Well, I mean, enough about the sports talk. It's not like this is a gaming podcast or anything.
This isn't a sports podcast?
Well, I mean, if you want it to be, I mean, you're the one that's not really going to have much to say the entire show, so...
Actually, I'm actually kind of...
Yeah. No, Wii Sports.
I'm a little annoyed about, like, I know we're not sports and anything. It was like, I'm a little annoyed with the whole situation at the LA...
Are you talking like the COVID shit?
Yeah, that was absolutely...
Yeah, I mean, long story short, a guy was taken out of the game because he got tested positive and then decided that when they won the championship that he still wanted to go out on the field. It's like, dude, you got COVID. We know you got COVID. Fuck off. You can celebrate in the stands. We don't give a shit. But what the fuck are you doing around hundreds of people?
To make things better, found the team without a mask.
Yeah. So I guess the way that it works is that as soon as you win a championship, who cares if we all get COVID?
Yeah, right? That's definitely what he was thinking.
In all fairness, it was 32 years waiting, so I get that part, but it's...
No, when a pandemic changes a lot of things.
Yeah, I know.
And again, you could celebrate in the stands, and they could point at you, be like, "Hey!" and you'd be like, "Hey!" and that's all you got to do.
Yeah, like I think that would be better. I think I'd rather be that guy in the stands.
It'd be a good shot too. It'd be a great camera shot.
Yeah, like you get like a wicked zoom in.
Friggin' guy's taking his shirt off, just whirling it around like he's fucking Playboy. I don't know, fucking know, just whatever.
Like the Dodgers are one of the few LA teams I actually don't mind.
I don't care about sports allegiances on this podcast.
I know, but it's just this was stupid. This was absolutely unnecessary, and it tarnished what was supposed to be a great moment. But I guess, Adam, what have you been doing this week?
Other than trying to kill myself? Let's see.
Well, welcome to the VCR Podcast, where we are very morbid about our crisis right now.
When has that changed?
I think this might actually be an intervention.
No, we've tried the intervention thing before with Vish. It didn't work very well. We already tried this once.
In fact, I think Chris, you and I actually drank more that night.
It wasn't the drink. I can't remember what the bit was, but we literally have a podcast named Intervention, and it just I can't remember specifically what the topic was, but either way, all
my addictions are still here, so it didn't do anything.
Yeah, no kidding.
I had my shot, so I'm just having Perrier and water tonight.
All right, fuck you guys and interrupting me every time when you ask me what the hell I was doing. So.
Yes, you're saying I'm going to enjoy it this week.
Yeah, so I said you would enjoy it, and then you went out of your way to be like, I actually don't want to hear this. I'm going to talk about me drinking Perrier.
Go ahead.
I'm worried. Should I? Well, anyways, so obviously with a lot going on, I've been trying to find something to play because originally I only had about 2-3 weeks left before Cyberpunk, and now it's like, oh shit. Now we got a little more than 3 weeks. But we'll get into that later.
I might be a little delayed.
I am really shocked how calm you are about that.
We'll get
it's coming.
Oh, believe me, I can hold myself together for about wait, this is the intro. I can hold myself for about two and a half more hours, but you know.
So tune in for the after show where Adam goes on a psychotic meltdown.
Dude, if I actually didn't keep this show together, we would go for 8 hours every fucking podcast. That's just the sad reality of this. So yeah,
it's like we're at the bar.
100%.
I was trying to find a game to kill some time with, and originally I thought Trails of Cold Steel would be a great idea, except the game came out just before the special edition was on sale, and I didn't get it because I didn't feel like spending $60 on a game that I wasn't going to touch for potentially 2 months. So I'm kind of beating myself for that one. So I'm like,
told you to buy it, dude.
Yeah, and then my actual conscience came in and said, Adam, you're not going to play this game for 2 months. Why are you spending money? That's like...
Don't listen to them. They're idiots.
It's like 3 days of McDonald's money. But no, I try to find something...
Jeez, what do you buy at McDonald's?
Dude, I don't know why. I always walk out with like way too much food.
Wait, hold up. Trails of Cold. How much was Trails of Cold Steel?
It was a special edition, so it was originally $100. Went on for like 70 or something. Either way,
I'm sorry. How much of McDonald's was?
Don't go on another aside. I'm moving the fuck on. So screw that.
This is an intervention, Adam. Stop going to McDonald's.
I'm going to never tell you what I did, just because it was the one thing you would actually want to talk with me about. If you don't shut the fuck up and let me goddamn talk about this.
Fine.
Jesus.
Please.
So yeah, I try to figure out, okay, what can I play that I already own that's probably going to take some time and is something I've been trying to, have some inkling to play for a little while. And then I remembered, oh wait, there's a game that I tried once, didn't really put a lot of time into it, and then
I think I know what it is.
Fucking finally got back into it. So I finally got to play Take Care of Dog and Snipe the Shit Out of Stuff Simulator, also known as Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain.
Yes.
How are you enjoying it?
I'm already 20 hours in.
Whoa.
I just finished the mission where you rescue Emmerich. That's where I got to.
Yes.
Now I'm telling you, this is the part the game changes completely.
So basically, the next major thing is coming.
Dude, no, the game and everything. Good. The tone changes, the missions change. Like it gets really remember I said like this game is not a horror game, but it had moments that fucked me up because of just real
I can't
life
wait
things.
Next week because that'll probably be how long it takes me to get to that point. to come on this podcast and go, really, Vish? That's what freaked you out? I can't wait.
Chris, I think you know what I'm talking about.
I'm just saying the odds of it would be hilarious. I like that. I like my odds.
And I'm thinking it may happen. I for some reason feel like I'm
not to mention you guys have prepared me so many times, so I'm expecting shit.
Yeah,
I thought when I finished the Emmerich mission, I was about to see that moment because there's something going on with his leg that I thought, oh, is this what I'm about to see? And then nothing came of it. I'm like, oh, okay, so we're getting there. We're getting there.
No, it's So I'm telling you,
like, don't ruin it.
Okay. By the way, how's your bond with Diamond Dog?
I literally just started using them, so.
Oh, okay. It's I'll tell you this game. The game really finds its like identity after this mission.
Well, I've already found my identity in this game because the first time I tried to do it, I'm like, I'm gonna be as stealthy as I can. I'm gonna make sure I don't kill anybody. I'm gonna tranquilize the shit. And that didn't go as well as I wanted to. So this time I'm like, you know what? Just fuck everybody.
Oh, see, I was Mr. Tranquilize, and then what the heck's the parachute thing called?
Oh, the Fulton.
Oh, recruitment.
Fulton. Yeah, I would just Fulton everything. Like,
well,
I'm
here's
fucking
the
everything.
Thing.
A car comes by, boom, buy car, everything.
Here's the thing. I find it just a lot easier, especially now because everything I have is silenced, to literally just snipe about half of the guys out before I even get into the base, and then just casually walk in and be like, oh, you're left, pop out the assault rifle that's also with a suppressor and just be like, bink, bink, bink.
Yeah, you can do some real damage in that game.
There's one mission. You'll get to it eventually. If you're stuck on it, this one actually is a hard mission. It's the convoy one. Chris, remember that one?
Okay, what's the?
Yeah, don't tell him yet.
Well, is it a story mission before Emmerich? Because there was one that I can think of that's kind of similar.
No, it's after.
No, it's definitely after.
Okay, well,
he knows what I'm talking about.
Okay, if I was the objective to like take out a couple of tanks, or was it to take out a couple of generals in cars?
If you just finished the one where you saved Emmerich, it's well ahead of that.
Okay, so no, because when you said convoy, I'm like, I can literally think of 2 missions where I did something similar to that. So.
Yeah, there's very similar missions.
Okay, upgrade your C4.
Oh, I have. I have.
I didn't even use C4 for that one.
But I got a more interesting. I got a more interesting question. So, okay. I mean, first I'll just quickly talk about the game. I don't know if I love the game so much as I just love the fact that there is a lot to do and it just keeps me busy.
Oh yeah.
Like the gameplay itself is becoming a bit formulaic, and that's all just because I found the method that just seems to work the best for me, which is just being an absolute dickhead from like 2 kilometers away at all times. Either that or just literally like
the sniper rifle in Metal Gear.
What's that?
I love using the sniper rifle.
Oh yeah, they're perfectly fine.
I only used one sniper rifle, and it was the tranquilizer one. I don't even know if I killed 10 guys.
I was a sniper rifle whore in that game.
I don't know. I kind of realized quickly. I'm like, you know what? It's just easier if I just kill a guy right in front of everybody, and they all pop out because they have no idea where I am. So I just keep picking them off slowly. There was one mission where it's the one where you got to get the rocket launcher early on.
Oh, the bumblebee or
the honeybee, yeah.
Oh,
literally, all I did was go to the one entrance on the ground, pop a guy, get on my horse, go all the way around up to a cliff, pop one guy there. So they're looking that way. Go all the way back down, pop a guy. Go back the other way, pop a guy, and just slowly like get nothing.
Man,
I'm just an asshole.
For me, the horse was my least favorite companion.
Oh, I have no intention to ever use the horse again now that I have the diamond.
Yeah, I never used the horse after that.
Diamond Dog is so great. He's
Dog is great, yeah.
So you're gonna get a dick and be like, "Good boy, good boy."
Well,
good boy.
When he actually, actually like pats the guy, because half the time he's patting the fucking air when he does it.
Yeah.
So
the animation's a little off sometimes.
So here's my question to you guys, because I want to know how you guys did this. What did you guys do with Quiet? As in, like, how did you approach that fight?
Okay. So.
Mine's funny.
I definitely.
You probably did what I did, but
I hit a lot, and I would move as quietly and as stealthily as possible, close towards her, and use a very high powered weapon. and when I had to, I would snipe because I would just see it. Because I'm pretty experienced with the Metal Gear Solid games, so when I went to that quiet battle, I had the sniper rifle, but I would always have like a very strong weapon as a secondary weapon, not just like a handgun or something. I would use like maybe like a shotgun or something. So
Chris, I'll ask you then. Did you use a way that doesn't require you to ever fire your gun?
I didn't fire a single shot.
Okay, so I know what you did. So I'll tell you exactly what we did.
Yeah.
So here's what you actually do if you want to be an absolute piece of shit and get through quiet without doing any fucking work. So all you have to do is, obviously she starts up on that arch right at the very beginning. And I didn't realize until after that she moves, but it doesn't take very long to figure out where she is. It's pretty obvious. As soon as you can locate her, you mark her as a target. And then you call in a supply drop.
Yeah, that's what I did.
And you drop the box on her head.
You know,
it takes out half
I heard
of her health.
I heard about this strategy.
It is the stupidest and yet the most satisfying thing to watch, to see this literal god of a sniper go down just because 2 cardboard boxes whapped her on the head.
Yep, I heard about this strategy. I never did it because, again,
the only reason I did it is because I got bored one time and did it to to like a random enemy just for fun, and then I went, wait a minute. And I look at it and I just see, okay, well, she'll move. If I keep just coming out of cover to keep her still, she won't move, will she? So I did it, and I'm like, oh, this is the greatest fucking thing I've ever done.
Yeah, it's so good. She gets taken out in 2 hits. I love it.
Yeah, it's I honestly. By the way, how do you feel about the open world aspect of Metal Gear Solid?
I
find it didn't suit it that much.
I don't hate it. I think the only problem is like a lot of open world games, there's a lot of emptiness.
Yeah, that's a lot of wasted space. 100%.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's an open world game. I mean, me and Chris, we played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and like literally 90% of the game is just mountain ridge. So
that game gave me anxiety though, because every like 3 steps there's a weird collectible or something nearby.
Yeah, there is.
Metal Gear Solid 5, I felt like there was a lot of just, oh cool, a big mountain range. That's all just Afghanistan. Cool. Like it's just like sand. Like there's nothing going on, or rocks. Like there's just a giant open space.
Is Africa available to you yet?
I've literally just gotten the talking about it, so.
Okay.
I've been limited to Afghanistan at this point.
Yeah, okay. I like the other map better.
It's really the only thing I've been putting any time in. At this point, I think I've kind of like finished my Sims run for a little bit, unless I'm like really bored, but I think I've kind of created myself out for a little bit. So that's been kind of like a nice getaway. So it's nice to have something else going again, especially now when I have another 3 weeks on top of already waiting to go. So, you know, but again,
if only Trails of Cold Steel was on sale a few months ago.
Yeah, and if only I knew ahead of time that a game that was coming out in 3 weeks to the time I was going to buy that game. Because here's a spoiler alert, guys. JRPGs are not 3-week long games. Unless you don't have a job, you can't finish those games in 3 weeks. It's impossible.
Even if you don't have a job, 3 weeks is...
No, I could do it in 3 weeks if I didn't have a job. That's possible. If I literally do, like, especially now in this pandemic, if I go fucking nowhere except for the grocery store, I can do it. That's not a problem. Because most of those games are like, what, 100 to 150 hours? Yeah, no, that's not hard in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I can do that in like a week and a half if I really wanted to. If it's that good and I don't stop, I can play it for 12 hours a day. Fuck it, I don't care. But yeah,
it's intense, but
so far enjoying what I've got with it. You know, hopefully, the only thing I will say that I'm kind of annoyed by is that it's not giving me really any inkling to want to move off my weapon suit. So it seems like I'm just going to play the exact same way the entire game, which is disappointing because, you know, I have all these things that I should be developing and I just refuse to touch it.
You get to choose your weapons pretty much the entire
Well, no, but what I
game,
mean is, like, there's no incentive once you've kind of figured out what you like playing as to do it. So you literally have this massive screen of things you should be developing that you're never going to touch. Like, I'm not touching just these shitty little pistols because I've got the silence pistol that's tranquilizer. Why would I use anything else?
It's like...
now, it would be different if I had multiple guns because I don't understand why you can't carry 2 fucking pistols. But, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Tomb Raider. I found after playing Tomb Raider that upgrading your handgun was a waste of time. You're better off upgrading your machine gun, your shotgun, and your.
Well, no, but
bow
what I
and
mean in this specific case compared to Tomb Raider is that Snake is legitimately like one of the most badass military people on the planet. He should be able to handle having a second holster of a pistol. But instead, it's like he gets two guns, a pistol, and his arm. Like, literally, he could have 6 fucking pistols in his pants if he wanted to.
Yeah, you have a point there. Oh, and also, how did you feel about? Like, did you start the game straight from the beginning, or did you continue on where you left off?
Oh, I don't even know if I had a save file anymore because I didn't even bother. I just was like, I don't remember a goddamn thing. I need to play the beginning again.
Oh, okay, so you got to like, how did you feel about like the beginning? Because I thought that was fucking awesome.
I mean, well, when I really look at it, like
hospital scene.
Yeah.
The what scene? Sorry.
The hospital part,
like the hospital or whatever you wake up in.
I don't have a really an opinion to it because I feel like there's a story to it that I'm not aware of because I'm not familiar with any lore in the series. So all the stuff that they're bringing into the fray, I'm like, I don't know what any of this is. I mean, I guess it's kind of if you've never played a Metal Gear game before and you walk into that, I mean, it's probably cool just for the fire dude. So it almost feels like a horror game at times, but generally speaking, I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. All I know is I must live. That's about it. So
okay.
Anyways, I'll move on because I've almost taken half an hour on my own alone. So, Chris, what have you been up to?
Oh, jeez. So I haven't had really much going on. I'm still only playing for myself mostly. Wargroove. Still playing it on the Switch. I'm on chapter 6 of 7. So I actually wanted to finish it today before the podcast, but I ended up having to go run a few errands and leave the house and stuff, so I didn't get a chance to do that.
Oh, dear.
I don't have anything new about to say. That game, I mean, it's still awesome. Like, I still love it. It's still amazing on the Switch. I have it on Game Pass on PC. I already have it on Steam, but like just playing it on Switch, especially like in bed. I played last night till 1 a.m. I think. I think it was 11. I'm like, I'm kind of tired. Maybe I'll just get in bed and I'll play a little Switch. Yeah, it was like 2.5 hours, I think. I ended up sitting there playing, and I'm like, oh shit, I need to go to sleep. I have to train at like 7 a.m. But yeah, like it's a lot of fun. I love all the missions. I love the character classes and the way the game plays. Tactical RPG, Advanced Wars, Final Fantasy Tactics, Fire Emblem. Like, I mean, I love all of these. So the game is still awesome. I love the cartoon effects, the cartoon pixel artwork and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like not really anything new to say about it besides I can't wait to finish it and then like knock that off my backlog so I can continue on to more things.
Especially when you only got 3 weeks left to go before your backlog really opens up again.
2 weeks. 2 weeks yesterday.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah, that was another thing I did this week.
Wait, no, 2 weeks. 2 weeks tomorrow.
2 weeks tomorrow for the PS.
Oh, sorry, I keep forgetting that you're now getting an Xbox as well. The motherfucker's gonna have both of them. He's gonna be the only guy that's gonna be next gen for probably the next 6 months minimum of this podcast. So at least we got a guy.
Yeah, because
I honestly don't
fucking
see
Xbox.
myself.
Oh, we'll talk about the next gen at the end of the show. I got some interesting stuff to talk about with that too. So you know what?
Yeah.
We'll keep on the intro here because we got to get through this as much as we can because there's so much.
Yeah,
to talk
for
about.
Sure. Yeah, because that's actually one thing I did this week. I already had the pre-order for the Series S, and I saw on Reddit that EB Games in Canada got pre-orders, but they're only in store. So I called Mapleview, the store I've been going to since I was like 9 years old. Still has the same phone number.
Which is funny too, because it's not even like anywhere near you now, and you still go there.
Well, it is now. It's right by my parents' house where I am. Yeah, so I called them because they're like 8 minutes away.
Nobody docs
and they're
Chris.
Like, yeah.
Wait, Chris is our only viewer. Does that mean Chris has to dox himself?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I can do it. I can do it. I'll pull it off. Yeah, but I was like, oh, do you have any Series X's? Because on freaking Xbox got me. First, it's like, here's Game Pass on PC. It's really great. Oh, do you want like the slightly better Game Pass? It's like just a bit better. You know what? Get an Xbox Series S. It's only like $300. And then you'll get the better version.
Not
you
to
can
mention
hook it up
EA
to the
Play
TV
when it launches.
EA Play for free and all that. Yeah, just get the slightly better one.
Dude, with the EA Play, you'll get Madden. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, he'll get mad playing Madden.
This is true. But then it got to I have the Series S, and I'm on Reddit, and everyone's like, "Oh, but like, shouldn't you really get the 4K one? Do you have a 4K TV? Oh, you do? Oh, you should probably just spend the extra couple hundred and get the Xbox Series X." It started off like Game Pass is such a good deal to what the fuck happened to my wallet? What did I do?
And then there's me sitting here being like, I wish I could get both of them right now. Fuck.
Yes, yeah. Hey, I got a Series S if you want to buy it off me, because now I have a pre-order from that.
You might, you know what, dude? Honestly, put it on Facebook Marketplace. See if you'll get anything for it. Because
well, I mean, I'm not keeping it because I don't need.
He can literally cancel his. He can decide which one he wants and just cancel the other pre-order.
Yeah, I'm still deciding, but I'm like, I might as well just future-proof the Xbox, and if I'm going to play that and PS5 for the next 5 years and not upgrade my PC. The S, I can feel like
basically, if you get both, you've essentially bought a PC for the next 5 years, except there's 2 gaming consoles with a much bigger library of games to choose from now.
Yeah, and I also looked at the two of them, and I'm like, added together, you're still cheaper than the 3090 by NVIDIA.
Which we'll also get into talking about PC shit as well.
Yes, we will.
As I said, there's a lot going on. Holy crap.
Yes, there's a lot. The only other game I have played, because my nephew was here, and I was like, you know what? He's going to love it. We played a little bit of Lego Batman. I'm not going to talk about that because we played one level because he's 4.5, and it took forever to get through that level. But God, I loved playing with him. It was so good. What? You laugh so hard. No. The other
playing games with toddlers.
Yeah,
it's adorable and rage-inducing at the exact same time.
Yeah, it's rage-inducing, especially since he wanted to be Batman. So it's not like I could even do some of the things to progress the level because it was him, because I was just Robin. But the game I did play, and then my nephew watched and he played a bit, but I mostly played it, was Fall Guys Season 2. I went back in. And it's a lot of fun still. I mean, the levels are still the same idea, but they've added a lot of new levels. And some of them are hard AF.
Really, I really regret not getting it.
Yeah, you missed it. That sucks that you missed it, because it's a great time waster. Because even when my nephew is playing, he never beat a single race. Like, he has trouble with the joystick of just go straight. He doesn't fully understand go straight. Like, to him, a joystick is like, ooh, move it around. But even every time he failed, I was still getting XP to level up. Like in the season, I'm like, no, keep going, bud.
And it really is a game that even in defeat, more times than not, you're having a blast.
The fact that he kept wanting to play, even though he couldn't even do one single race, is exactly what proves that that game is still fun. And it's because you can instantly jump back in. Press A twice, you're back in and you're ready to go again. Like,
yeah, the only thing keeping me from playing the game more consistently is just not having people to play with. I can't solo stream that game every fucking time I stream. So
hey, well, now that I've got the internet figured out, you and me can play. Did you get the excuse me, the Steam version?
Yeah, I've got the Steam version now. So okay, I can be Fall Guy 1168.
Yeah, I'm like 7387 or something weird. Either way, it is a lot of fun. Some of the old levels are still there, obviously. The only thing that throws me off is the intro music at the beginning of the game is slightly different. Same song, but different like tempo.
Yeah,
so they've got like a new version for it for season 2.
I gotta tell you one funny story about
do we have time for a funny story?
It's a 1 minute story. So my ringtone on my phone is the old school 8-bit Super Mario theme because it's me. So there's this high-end manager in my office who has the exact same ringtone. And of course, his phone goes off multiple times a day because he's a manager. So every time his phone rings, like, what the fuck? I thought my phone. Oh, yeah, it is on silent. So it just fucks me up every time. But go on, dude. Sorry. I said less than a minute.
And you also said funny story, and it wasn't a funny story.
It's funny if you lived through it.
If you lived through it. He survived.
So basically, you told a story.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you told a story.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, that's all I've had for the past week. Pre-ordering the Xbox Series X, which people on Reddit have been unable to do somehow. I've been able to pre-order 2 at this point. And play Wargroove and Fall Guys. Both awesome, fun games, but I mean, I have not much to say because I've already talked about them on the show. So Vish, I mean, for me, you're right there, but you could be probably.
Yeah, tell
here or
me
there.
a story, Vish.
So
Yeah, tell us a story of what you did
there
for
once
the week.
there once was a man from Nantucket. It was a very
That's where you're
overrated-
from?
Yes, that was me. Dubai is actually known as Nantucket.
I knew it.
if
All right, this
whoever
story is
doesn't
already
know,
getting really fucking weird.
Yeah, I was born in Dubai, but I really have no bonds or connections there. So really, so I've been doing other stuff. Like, unfortunately, again,
Shocking.
gaming hasn't been.
Yeah, have you ever not been
priority.
doing other stuff?
Yeah.
I guess
know.
when we say that sometimes on this podcast we talk about games, we don't mean just because of the subject material. It's because Vish sometimes doesn't have games to talk about.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't have games to talk about. But however, so I this like I'll just say, so my because of right now for some personal reasons, I'm not going to the gym. So this weekend, I rearranged the basement and fixed up the home gym because, um, again, the last 2020 has been kind to Vishal, and I'm trying to change that and fix that, and it's been a lot better the past little while.
Vish is gonna fix
So-
2020, guys.
No, Vishal's
The
gonna
hero we
fix
need.
2020 just for himself.
Oh, you
If I
selfish
help-
Oh,
piece
wow,
of shit.
selfish. Selfish son of a
Motherfucker, you know
bitch.
I'd be the first one there for you if you needed help.
Except in 2020, apparently.
Oh, good point.
So I fixed up the home gym. It looks pretty great. I have then worked on a few other things, just organizing myself and trying to just revamp my. I deleted pretty much every single post from this year on my Instagram because I want to. It's a new start and I want to do a fresh start. So it's just I'm just trying to do like the whole new beginnings, new start, new everything, and just start fresh because new beginnings and just going into it with a positive mindset. But
Mm.
what I did do this weekend, and Chris also did, and a few of our friends, including Brittany Bitch, I watched a very nice movie this weekend, Borat 2. So, I will say the first 5 minutes, I was almost in tears of laughter. There was a lot of things in this movie that just was unnecessarily over the top offensive. It just wasn't necessary. Uh, However, there was a lot of stuff that happened in this movie that was absolutely hilarious. And what I thought was really funny is that the most likable people in this movie were a black woman who was very, very nice, very, very kind, very, very caring, nurturing, and also a Jewish lady, especially since like Borat's supposed to be anti-Semitic, while Sacha Baron Cohen is extremely Jewish. So, I would definitely recommend everyone watch Borat, because and also I want to just mention the politician who does career-ending and career-damaging shit is Rudy Giuliani. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, everybody knew that one.
Yeah, I just was it's hilarious. Don't get me wrong, but the funny thing is, so this I am impressed about. He lived with two ultra conservative rednecks. Like you see these guys, and that's what they are. They're full out rednecks, ultra conservative. But in the end, they were actually nice people. They housed him for a few days. They actually uh were nice to him, took care of him. They just have very alt-right views, but they're good people. Like these guys took care of them, and he wasn't showing the fact of like all conservatives are bad people. Like these guys actually housed him when he had nowhere else to go. And as you go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say there is a thing about this movie, because I obviously haven't seen it because I don't really care much for it. but I've
Really?
heard a lot of things that go on in this movie that make it seem pretty apparent that the closest thing we have now to a left-leaning undercover journalist is this,
Yeah.
which is kind of frightening when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Very.
So it's,
very frightening.
Then again, I mean, if somebody tried to go real undercover on, like, say, the Trump, government or something like crazy going on out south in the world, like, I think this happened. Where the fuck did this happen? Somebody got really undercover on somewhere in South America, and they got their car bombed. So it's that kind of shit. Like, it's dangerous as shit. And the same probably went with Borat.
Right.
Is like, yeah, they probably had a lot of people like keeping very close tabs and everything going on, but that one false move. Sacha Baron Cohen could have had a bullet in his head. You never know.
Actually, I was reading on IMDb because IMDb actually gets addicting very badly when you go through the trivia section and you click on other things that have connections to it. Sacha Baron Cohen in one scene, I don't want to spoil too much. He's at a full out like alt-right convention, and it had mentioned that he wore a bulletproof vest a few times.
Oh yeah,
Because this time it wasn't like it wasn't like 2006. Like Borat's like, who the fuck is this guy? This time it's like, oh my god, it's Borat. Very nice, very nice. Like everyone recognized
it wasn't even. It's because literally in 2020 compared to 2006, there is a far more like tight leash that's being done, and everything else is so much more like, I guess for lack of a better word, trigger happy.
Yeah.
It's a lot more tense now.
It's more tense for sure.
What I will say as well, Borat actually did have which is really weird for a movie like Borat and a character like Borat. Borat actually had some heartwarming moments with his daughter. Spoiler alert. Sorry. And it was just like you were not expecting that to happen in a movie like this. So I definitely recommend people watching it. The first one is certainly better because I don't know, maybe it was fresh, new, and you were just like shocked. And maybe this time it was just too real.
Well, I think this one was also meant with a much more politically driven.
Yes. Yeah, the first one had no politics at all. Borat would just shit in a bag.
Oh, I'm sure it did. It's
funny.
just you don't pay much attention to it then because it was this new thing where it was just funny.
Well, it was like
Because Borat, the original Borat, is very
guy
much
who was
similar to
like-
what the last movie is. It's still very much an undercover journalist sort of deal. It's just now with the way that things are, with obviously the far right being what they are, with the way that the Trump administration is, with how tense everything is with Black Lives Matter and everything else. Obviously, something like Borat suddenly becomes a lot harder to be a comedy documentary in real life when so much race-based issues is happening currently in the country. So
that was the thing. It's like you'll see, if you like I personally suggest Adam. I think you would enjoy the movie.
I pretty much have already heard like what happens in passing at this point from other people talking about it. So
Okay.
I don't see any reason to do it either, even after. So
Okay, it's all good. I just in my personal opinion, I think you would enjoy it. But if you don't watch it, you don't watch it.
well, that's a
but
good
it's
thing that
all
you're not my conscience.
good. I'm not.
I'm
So,
not.
yeah, it's and you know what it is. I will say, I didn't think it would shift I don't think it's going to shift the election as
No,
much
because
I
as far as I
originally
think,
thought it
the election's kind of
No.
already decided.
would. It's yeah.
But
So-
again, we're not going that deep. So
Yeah, I know we're not.
Yeah.
And also, just an off thing. My guilty pleasure is watching This Is Us, a TV show. It's like when so myself, I work in marketing and social media, and the best content is content that's relatable, content that you can like just like be like it just when you see it, it's like, oh, that's me. It's like when Apple used to be good, and when FaceTime first came out, they showed a grandfather seeing his grandchild for the first time via FaceTime. It's like, oh my god, my heartstrings. It's like that's such a relatable thing. It's like, oh my god, this is what FaceTime can do for me. I can see my grandchildren. And then another one was like when FaceTime first came out, a deaf couple were talking to each other in sign language. It's like, wow, that is amazing. So it's the whole thing of like content that's relatable. So the This Is Us premiere happened last night. It was a 2-hour premiere, and again, it's the whole situation. It's like there's a lot of family drama that happens in it, but it's like, you know what? This is real life. They're not afraid to be real. They're not afraid to be relatable. They're not afraid to just show like, oh, you know what? This is life. That's one thing about Scrubs. Like Scrubs was not afraid to be real at all because it was a comedy show in a hospital. It was like, oh, this guy has cancer, or this guy is actually gonna die. It's like we're not gonna save him. Like Scrubs had some like moments where it was way too real. You didn't expect it to happen in a show of that caliber. But that's the thing. It's like but one thing I'll say is to our listeners that watch This Is Us, I just find Randall's becoming so unlikable lately. It's fucking he's becoming a male bitch, honestly. But yeah,
we have no comment.
Yeah, I have no idea how to like translate that back into man so I can understand what you just said.
Fuck you.
Yeah, you're speaking bitch. You're speaking bitch over here, bitch. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Randall's just like a man bitch now. Like, what the fuck happened? Where did Vish go?
So apparently this podcast is going to slowly become about The Bachelorette.
No. I can't even say no enough times. Okay? No.
So there's a line with you, apparently.
Yes. Oh my god.
On the video game podcast, you'll talk about anything but video games, but if I want to talk about The Bachelorette, you're like, no.
Okay,
no.
But one thing I did see is the first few clips of the Resident Evil Netflix show, which I am so fucking excited for.
And yeah, that does look good.
I'm just excited for it. That's all I can say right now. They've only shown a few screenshots, and I think it's actually going to be a quality show, and I think it'll be similar to the Resident Evil 2 remake because that game was fucking awesome. And then I'm just waiting for the other.
And
no, and then
yeah, I got nothing after that. So really, again,
Expanse High Castle.
I have been a disappointment again to my fellow co-host this week. So,
I don't know why you say it like I've been a disappointment again, as if that's never changed over the entire 48 episodes we've done this. You've just been now a disappointment that doesn't even do anything.
Oh, he watched This Is Us.
As I said, didn't do anything.
But Adam, did you hear Randall's just becoming a man bitch?
You know who else is already a man bitch? The guy who hasn't done anything.
You know who's just a bitch? Adam.
Fuck yeah, I am, and I relish in that. Actually, no, I'm not a bitch. I'm an asshole. That's different.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Dicks, fuck, assholes.
All right, so aside from Team America. So this is the VCR podcast where sometimes we do talk about video game related news, although sometimes that never is the case, because then we talk about shit like fucking Randall. But if you are enjoying what you're listening to so far, or watching, depending on whether you're watching the live stream or YouTube or whatever else, may I suggest that you guys like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, follow on Twitch, and if you're listening to on any audio service such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, and many, many more, to like that or give us a star rating and share wherever you may be with your friends. Not to mention that if you are interested in seeing this in other ways, if you are listening to this in the audio services, youtube.com/csradical, you can see the VOD, or if you want to see it live, it is twitch.tv/csradical. Same goes for any audio service. Just search up the VCR podcast on Google. We tend to actually be in search results now. Or if you just want like the obvious link, just go to vcrpod.podbean.com. So.
And if you agree that Randall's a bit of a man bitch, please comment below.
Fuck yeah. On YouTube, of course. Can't really comment much in most other places. Man, if Spotify had comments.
It's add views, Vishals on all social media. So if you want to tell me directly that Randall's a man, bitch, go ahead.
Yeah, no one
I'm
cares.
still messaging you.
So, moving on to the actual things going on in the news. I know that seems shocking after the last 45 minutes of this show.
I'm blown.
We might have to timestamp this one.
Oh, I know. I've learned to not bother because I don't want to go back through 2 hours plus trying to figure out where the hell a starting point is. I'll wait for the day that I can get somebody through Fiverr when we're making money and I can get that done there.
That's a good idea. Our intern.
Yeah, no kidding. So first order of business. Chris's favorite news of the week. AMD put out its new set of graphics cards to combat the NVIDIA RTX 30 series. And it is going to be one hell of a, well, I guess end of the year, but more or less a 2020 or 2021 plus for PC users for the next little while until the next generation comes out. Because, man, you got some fucking really interesting choices going on.
Yeah. Holy shit. This is the first year I've looked at AMD graphics cards and thought, I kind of want one. Because NVIDIA was always like top dog. Like if you had an NVIDIA, you could play a game. If you had AMD, it was sometimes rough. And the stats that came out on today's video, like comparing the 6000 and 6800 with the 3070 from NVIDIA, the 6800 XT, I think it is, with the 3080, like, man, they're like on par now, which is insane because it's never that I can't think of a single time in PC gaming history that AMD wasn't like the underdog and it actually was catching up to NVIDIA.
And not to mention too that this generation is going to be interesting too because there's a bunch of different directions you can go in. So the two cheaper ones, the 6800 and the 6800 XT, they're coming on November 18th. The big one, the 6900, fuck yeah, of course it's the 6900. What else would it be? The 6900 XT will be out December 8th. Speed-wise, like, they're almost at par with their NVIDIA counterparts. The difference is going to be the price in the end. Not to mention, though, the one notable difference is that the cheapest one, the 3070, only is an 8GB memory, whereas all of the Radeon cards in this generation are all 16GB memory. So there is that difference. But the price range is where shit gets interesting. So the 3070, which is NVIDIA's cheapest one, which is basically like the same as like a 2080 Ti, which is normally like $1,300 US.
Yeah, the most intense one from this generation. Yeah.
And the 3070 is only $400 or $399. The cheapest model for Radeon is the 1600 at $579, which is a considerable jump. Now,
I'm sorry. Well, what is the lowest for AMD?
It's $579.
Oh fuck!
So it's a bit of a difference. The difference, though, is that it seems like there is a pretty substantial difference between what the 6800 will do and the 3070. That seems like, because here on this chart I got up on the stream here for anybody watching the video, it's comparing it to the 2080 Ti, which is basically the 3070 in almost all capacity. Absolutely. And the 6800 for AMD is pretty handily beating the 2080 Ti in almost every game, and not just like. Actually, it's beating it in every game, but in some games, it's not just beating it by a smidget. It's like overpowering. So I guess the price difference makes a little bit of sense, although I probably would have shot for something more like $499 because the problem is that when you talk about the next one, the 6800 XT, it's only $70 more expensive. And I'm thinking like, at that point, like if you're spending $580 on a card, why not just up the next $70? It's basically just buying another video game and getting a much better graphics card. Yeah, so I kind of look at this price right now and just go, what's the point of the price range for the 6800? You might as well just pony up $70 at that point.
Yeah, I see no reason to get the 6800, the basic one.
And this is what makes it interesting, right? Because I feel like if you're going the cheap route, you might as well go the 3070. There's no reason to go the 68 because if you're going to go to the 68, you might as well up $70, and that's when you get the choice between either the 68 or the 3080, which I think the 3080 was more expensive too. It's $699, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, the 6800 XT is $50 cheaper than its counterpart, the where's the chart I'm looking for? Yeah, the 30. Oh no, that's the other one. It's not showing me the one I want. I guess they copy and pasted this chart twice. You stupid fucks. All right, well, don't worry about them. I'll have the next slide up for the big one at the end. But yeah, like the 6800 XT, from what I remember seeing that chart, is still better than the 3080 in almost every aspect, and it's $50 cheaper. So it seems like the mid-range AMD should have that market. Where it gets interesting is the fucking power. The big boys of each of them. The 6900 XT, which is the competing to the 3090, is only $1,000 compared to the 3070. What was it, 1350 or 1300?
In US, yeah.
Yeah. So you're getting a definite price difference between those two. Now, all accounts seem to show that the XT, it's hit and miss. Sometimes it's better than the 3090, sometimes it isn't. I think also this is AMD's official numbers, which means they could have picked very specific scenarios to make it look better. It's not just like some random companies, like third parties, like actual run of it. So we might know down the line when, say, Digital Foundry or somebody gets their hands on all these and actually compares the speeds that they're clocking. But I mean, as it stands, it seems like for $300 cheaper, you're getting, if not on par to NVIDIA's 3090, you're getting one that's maybe like 5% at most weaker. Like, not a very substantial loss.
No, but a lot less money.
Not to mention it's better on memory too. It's not nearly as taxing on your computer, which I think is the big selling point of AMD's graphics cards. They seem to be a lot smarter when it comes to not wasting your computer's memory as much as, say, the NVIDIA ones will.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, these look good. Like, I'd never get the 6800. It wouldn't make sense. You'd just get the 3070 from NVIDIA. But when it hits that 6800 XT or the 6900 XT, if I was going to go crazy and build like a super PC, like, I think I'd go with that 6900
Not to mention
XT
that price will drop probably a little bit by the time you get one. By the time you plan to upgrade, which might be 4 or 5 years from now, that thing could be like 400 US now, just because of depreciating value, for all you know. It might not. Depends on the sales, depends on Black Fridays, that kind of shit, but you know.
Honestly, at this point, I don't think I'm gonna buy anything new, like games wise or anything, until Black Friday, because Black Friday, I find it's so worth it to wait for any.
It really depends. Sometimes just at the most random times of the year, you can get some great deals. It doesn't have to be Black Friday. Sometimes if you just pay attention, you can. That's why I'm like subscribed to so many subreddits for that.
Yeah, same.
I think this is going to be the first time that Ghost of Tsushima comes on a significant discount.
I don't think it'll be significant enough. I think the game's still too new that it might be like maybe $20 off, which isn't enough to get my attention.
That's to be entirely honest. 30%. I think that is pretty significant.
And it'll be great because then I'll say, hey, Ghost of Tsushima, still cheaper than Breath of the Wild.
That is true.
I might even wait till that hits PS Plus or the PS Plus collection or something.
I mean, you never know. They might put it on. They might put it on.
Maybe. I got enough games to play in the meantime anyway.
Yeah, you're gonna have plenty to fucking go through.
Why not?
But yeah, the way that I'm looking at this right now, and this is just from like, I'm not a massive expert in tech, so I'm more just looking at numbers. I'm looking at what other people have said to kind of figure out where I kind of stand on it. The way that I see it right now, if you just want to upgrade your graphics card to do the best that you can, then you get the 3070 because it's cheap as shit, and you know, it's not going to break your bank, but it's going to be a significant upgrade on most things that you have. If you have anything that isn't from the 20 series, you're going to get a pretty significant upgrade. Yeah, like right now, I'm running a 1650. I think Chris, you're running a 1050 or
no, a 980 Ti. So I have like the 2080 Ti version from like 2 generations ago.
Yeah. So, like, both of us would see a significant upgrade going to even just a 3070.
Oh, yeah.
So, if you're looking for the cheap option...
I'm mostly like 1080p, so...
Yeah, if you're looking for the cheap option, you go to the 3070, in my opinion. I think the 6800, unless they change the price, is almost a moot point. I don't know if that's... Unless you're specifically wanting to go to AMD, I don't think that changes you off the 3070 if that's your option. If that's your price range, you're going to the 3070. If you're going to the mid-range, I think you're going 68 XT. Just makes sense from that perspective because it's $50 cheaper and seems to be more powerful. And then when it comes to the big boys, I think it's just depending on what you're going to use it for. If you're just a gamer and you're just trying to get like the best bang for your buck, you're going the 6900 XT. I think if you just don't give a fuck about money, you might as well get the 3090 and just get because I think the 3090 in the end is still going to be the best possible option. But again, at $1,300, like you better be pretty committed to that. So, or rich as fuck, in like which case, fuck you, give me money.
Yeah, that's an Xbox, a PlayStation, and a Switch. That 3090.
Yeah.
Like that's
Granted
all. That's
that-
all
And
three
still
of them.
room to buy games.
That
Yeah, and
that's
probably
the
to buy
thing,
like 2 or 3
granted
games.
that card is ridiculous, but it with Steam and Epic Game Store, it's a virtually unlimited library.
Well, that's the thing too, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're getting, let's be honest, you're getting a 3090 or a 6090 XT or a 6090, a 6900 XT. You're all in. Like you got money and you're all in. You're just like, I want the best fucking thing there is. Like unless we see the next what the new Titans are gonna be, that's gonna be a different story. But
I'm afraid. Wait,
I'm just waiting
wasn't
for
there a rumor
Cyberpunk
of
to
one?
come out.
I don't know.
I'm getting to that story. God damn it. Well, you know what? It's just perfect timing that that's the next thing on the docket. So fuck it.
Perfect transition.
So dumb fuck sending death threats to CD Projekt Red aside because the internet can't do anything with any sort of
fucking hate
thought
those
processing.
people. Holy fuck! Go fuck yourselves.
How unfulfilling and pathetic is your life that you're sending death threats to guys who are just doing their job?
Not to mention,
also, you fucking assholes.
I saw
delaying it to do it to make you a better product. Shut the fuck up, honestly.
I saw a great idea in response to it. Cyberpunk should have been smart. CD Projekt Red should have been very out front because they've had some funny stuff since the delay. Like one of their official Twitter account said a while ago that there were going to be no more delays, and then they answered their own tweet and said no one would notice if we just took this tweet down. Would they? So they've got
Actually, what's funny?
I thought I love that, like the self-depreciation about it. It's
But you know what they should have done in response? Instead of one of their developers coming out and saying, "Hey guys, can you please not send us death threats?" What somebody should have said was like, "Hey guys, we've been getting a couple death threats from some of you guys recently because of the delay of the game. Can we just remind you that if we all actually killed ourselves, you wouldn't ever get the game?"
That's a good point.
Or you know what? I would hire some private security and be like, okay, those who are sending us death threats, please come to this location.
Oh, do you think they? Oh, dude, these guys already would know where the building is. Like they would if they could. They're talking shit. They're 14-year-old kids that have no concept of fucking patience.
That's what I'm saying. It's like call them out.
No, calling them out doesn't do anything because they're anonymous. It doesn't change shit. The only thing that they can do is grow up, which some do and some don't. That's just the reality.
No,
some will.
It's just. Oh,
I don't think there's a solution to the problem. Like I really, as much as I'd love to think that there's a way around getting people. I mean, I will say, at least swatting is gone because somebody had to die for it to happen. But swatting's finally done. It seems, because I haven't heard stories about it in a long time. Now it's just doxing and death threats, which is still bad, but it's not literally sending armed police, who have a tendency to shoot people, to a random person's house thinking that they have to open fire.
Okay, come on. That doesn't happen, and especially in America. It doesn't happen there.
I mean, not swatting, yes, but police shooting? No.
Never happens.
But yeah,
honestly, I just, guys, like there is literally more important and worse things going on in the fucking world right now.
None of these people are listening to the show and they don't care. That's the thing.
Released. It doesn't matter. I'm going to tell them. It's like there's literally worse and more important things going on in this fucking world than a game you haven't played yet getting delayed. Again, I will say in my experience, when Smash Brothers Brawl got delayed, like I think it was 3 times. I'm pretty sure.
Doesn't matter. Keep going.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? I got annoyed, but when the game came out finally, I was like, "This is fucking awesome. This is fucking like one of the best fighters that ever existed. Like I could still pop in that game and play and still enjoy it. These delays aren't a bad thing.
This is actually the sad part. This is how
that's not working properly. Like, grow up here, shut the fuck up, and just deal with it and go on with your fucking lives.
Okay,
because
so
honestly, you don't need to threaten people for doing their jobs.
I'm going to tell you right now,
sorry,
no one is going to listen to this clip that isn't already feeling the way that you feel and care. This is how you actually talk to these retards. Okay, guys, if you want to send death threats to CD Projekt Red because of a fucking delay, you're not allowed to post a Shigeru Miyamoto meme on Reddit anymore where he talks about if the game comes out later, it's going to be a better game than if it came out rushed. If you want to send death threats, you don't get to post that meme anymore, you dumb fuck.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can reach them. Honestly, that's the closest thing I can do to actually reach these people. So, going back to the actual delay itself, it seems to be just because the game is not ready on current gen. That seems to be what's going on. According to them, it's ready on PC and next gen, but it's not ready for current gen, which tells me one of two things. One, there's so much going on in this game that it just needs more dialing it back because they're trying to figure out how to make the game still run without completely destroying the console. Because there are games already that came out on Xbox One and couldn't run at 1080 with 30 frames. It had to scale down to 900p. So we have to wonder if maybe that's what's going on. Because, I mean, we saw the original trailer where they show how many people are walking around in the city. I don't know if the PS4 can handle that. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's what's going on. The other thing that I can just figure is that it's just gross mismanagement, and we'll definitely know that when the game actually comes out, if it ever does.
Yeah, it will.
Now, the thing that bothers me, too, is they said it's ready for PC, to which I say, why not release it then?
Yeah, why not put it on PC, have that market do it? And
because
then
if people have the chance to play it, why not let them play it?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I know people will sit there and be like, well, spoilers and you know, something else might get leaked. I'm like, guys, I know that it's really hard for some people to not have a million Twitter follows that talk about one game. It's pretty easy to not get spoiled if you actually try. If you just unsubscribe to Cyberpunk subreddit, fucking stop following people on Twitter that are streaming and doing this shit. Don't watch streamers playing the game. If you really don't want to get spoiled, it's not that hard with video games. This isn't the Avengers movie where literally every fucking outlet in the entire planet is talking about it. It's a video game. Most places don't talk about this shit still.
And to be entirely honest,
and even then, Avengers is not that hard to avoid if you actually try.
Yeah.
If you're Vish, it's impossible because Vishal can't go 5 minutes without staring at his phone feed.
Yeah, Vishal, you can't. Yeah, you go onto social media. That's what happens there.
I work in marketing.
That doesn't mean, but you can have an account that doesn't have all the follows. You can have a professional account.
I do.
And still, and you still get spoiled, so then stop following those things.
Dude, it's not even like, it doesn't even have to be account. It could be regular accounts that I follow. And then, here's the thing. With any Marvel movie comes memes. And you know what? They're doing it on purpose to get more exposure, more free
I understand. But as somebody who also spends 8 hours a day on Reddit, spends a pretty good amount of time on Twitter, and sometimes pops into Instagram, it really isn't that
difficult. Dude, I guess you're an anomaly because, frankly, I will be honest, it actually, especially for the MCU, it is very difficult.
Okay, well, in this specific case with Cyberpunk, it will not be hard.
Okay.
It will not be hard.
I'm just thinking you're an anomaly in this.
I am not an anomaly. I'm just one person with some self-control with social media, which is apparently, I guess, the anomaly.
I just like if I'm seeing like the Marvel movie that's coming out tonight or it's came out yesterday, I just don't look at social media for those 2 days.
Chris, it's 2020. Don't say Marvel movie coming out tonight. That's just going to make us sad.
No, keep saying it because we'll keep depressing Vish. He might run away crying, and then we'll actually get some time on this podcast to talk about real shit that isn't just, Randall.
If he runs away crying, it's because Randall is a man.
I'm literally tempted to title this episode of the podcast when it goes up on YouTube, "Fuck Randall."
I love it. Do it. Do
it.
But yeah, honestly, when I really think about it, I'm worried about this game just for the reason that so many delays have happened now that I'm like, okay, I've booked up 4 different sets of vacation time now for this game. I'm like, guys, I'm not the game might still be good in the very end, but man, there's so many flags now that are being raised because this game can't get finished on time. So I'm hoping that the game comes. I'm hoping the worst case scenario is that I try to play it on PS4 and it doesn't run very well, and I just say, you know what, fuck it. I'll just wait till I get the free upgrade for PlayStation 5 when I get the console, and I'll do it then. Whatever, I'll live.
Yeah.
There's plenty else going on. At least I know I have a copy of the game and it's not going to cost me $80. I'll take it.
I feel like I'm one of the few people that heard about this delay, and I was like, "Oh, thank God, I have another month to try and beat some of my backlog."
Yeah, now I got to figure out what to do with my 2 days vacation in November. Shit.
Fall Guys.
Maybe.
Porn?
We'll see. Well, that
Porn?
Porn's just that's every day. What are you talking about?
No.
That's only like 9 hours of the day.
I'm not talking about watching. I'm talking about making.
Okay, well, I'm trying to like
That's
make
only
money.
like 9
I'm
hours.
trying to make porn, not horror films. Okay, self-deprecation joke. Bam.
Dude.
But
I'm moving on now.
Account.
I'm moving on. Speaking of people moving on, by the way, the a second director now for Halo Infinite.
Segue.
The second director in 2 years has hit the Halo Infinite, or I guess 343 Studios, which is very worrying. In a similar light with Cyberpunk, having 2 directors leave and the project being delayed when it was supposed to be a launch title, I have a bad feeling this game's not going to be very good, or at the very least is not coming out for a much longer time now.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about this one. That's another nail in the coffin of Halo Infinite.
When I see this story, my brain immediately goes to Mass Effect Andromeda when a chunk of BioWare left in the process of that game.
Yeah.
When you lose major creative not directors, but like parts of the team, that's not a good sign, especially when the game is so close to being finished, or supposed to be so close to being finished, I guess I should say.
Yeah, because they don't have a new date. There's like a tentative area, but I don't think there's a new date.
No.
I mean, they don't know.
I guess their goal was sometime probably mid next year, and I'm not sure that that's even a thing now.
Yeah.
It's definitely worrying.
Maybe this is it's weird. My first thought today was, so maybe Microsoft bought Bethesda, and then Sony was like, fuck, what do we do? Oh, I know. Let's buy some people from Halo and fuck them over. My immediate thought was that this guy got poached by Sony for some fucking reason.
Well, apparently, I don't think the guy's left Microsoft. From what I've read about, I don't think he actually left Microsoft. He's just left 343.
Oh, that's...
So he might have just said, "I'm yeeting the fuck out of this team."
That's even more worrisome.
That's the thing too. If that's
at least
true,
if he was poached or something.
Yeah, if he left for a completely different company, outside of Microsoft's window, that'd be one thing. If he's still within Microsoft's hands, but not working on this game, that's definitely not a good sign.
Yeah, why did he have to get out? Why did he feel so I don't want my name attached to this anymore?
It's either what's wrong with the game or what's wrong with him.
It could be a matter of both.
Yeah,
who knows?
True.
And that's one of those things that we won't know potentially, if at all, not for a while. So it just comes down to man, this game, I know a lot of people, there's one buddy specifically that in my PlayStation chats we talk about all the time, and he's a big Xbox guy, and he has gone from super excited to what the fuck is happening? Sure, Xbox on its own, which we'll get to next week, because literally next week is going to be just the week before the Xbox launch. So we're literally just going to go ham on Xbox for the entire episode. So we'll do more about that then. But as a long story short, he's gone from so excited to being man, yeah, it's cool that we're going to have Game Pass and all this stuff, but what is the point of this console right now?
Yeah. Yeah, it's see, the thing is with this game, if I it's going to be on Game Pass day one, fine. I'm not overly worried about it, because if it turns out to be shit, it's not like I had to pay for it. If I was buying this game,
if you were buying the console specifically for this game,
oh yeah, no, fuck that. I would have canceled my pre-order. If for some reason I was stupid enough to have a pre-order on this game, I would have had it canceled by now, hands down.
Thanks for the great segue, because you want to know what talks about stupid pre-orders. That makes me think of the Google Stadia.
Why is it still alive?
So it's only alive because one of their creative directors said something really fucking stupid earlier in the week.
Oh yeah. Oh.
So Alex Hutchison, which is the creative director at the Montreal, office for the Google Stadia, said the following. This is 2 tweets. Streamers worried about getting their content pulled because they used music they didn't pay for should be more worried by the fact that they're streaming games they didn't pay for as well. It's all gone as soon as publishers decide to enforce it. So first, most of them probably pay for these games. Like, unless we're talking the really big streamers, like the really big streamers, and more often than not, they probably did too.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that statement's coming from.
No, and the funny thing is a lot of these streamers, if they're big enough, get gifted the game by the game company
because they
to
want
promote
them
the game.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, Stadia guy?
So,
you're just
like,
mad because you're attached to Stadia.
So why would publishers enforce that if they're already supporting it by giving away these copies?
Exactly.
So that's already stupid as shit. And then his second tweet is, the real truth is the streamer should be paying the developers and publishers of the games they stream. They should be buying a license like any real business and paying for the content they use.
What the fuck?
So coming from the creative director of a streaming service, I can't imagine there's a conflict of interest there.
Not at all.
So that's gone over well.
Yeah.
Some people have talked about stuff.
Free advertising for our GameStop.
One of the ones that I like the most was from Gathalion, which is a big Destiny streamer that I used to at least keep up with back when I was still paying attention. His response is, a lot of people quote tweeting this hot take about how streamers should need a license from publishers to stream their games. I think we should be more concerned that anyone who works at Google Stadia is giving business advice.
Yeah.
And okay, game, set, and match.
Yes. My favorite part of this is that Google came out and then was like, yeah, his statements, Google does not agree with them. We like that people stream on YouTube, blah, 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 because Google, who owns this, also owns YouTube, where a lot of people stream. So they were like, nah, we ain't part of this. We like that we have streamers with these games and everything.
Yeah. And the guy tried to double down a little bit.
Even Google's like, nope.
He tried to double down. He did say, and this was commented against by Jason Schreier, who is still one of the more reputable game journalists you can get out there. So Alex says, amazing to me that people are upset at someone saying that the creators of content should be allowed to make some of the money from other people using their content for profit. That's called all the people that watch the streamers playing Fall Guys and buying Fall Guys. Like, ask the guys at Fall Guys right now just for their Steam profits. I'm pretty sure they're very happy with streamers right now.
I bought it. My final decision was because I watched somebody play a bit on Twitch and a bit of you, actually, Adam.
I was going to say, it better have been me.
Yeah, it totally was you now that I think of it. And I saw that and I was like, I have to play this. I don't have a PlayStation. Cool, I'll buy it. I paid full price. I didn't even wait for a sale.
Because here's the thing, so, for one streamer who doesn't buy the game, like, let's just assume, let's say the biggest, I don't know who the biggest streamer in Twitch is right now because I don't keep up with Twitch culture as much as I probably should. But whoever is, I don't know if it's Ninja now or if it's somebody else. Let's just say whoever it is. If that developer decides to give that person a free key to their game, they're not losing money. Because if that person alone plays that game, more than 10 people will buy a copy of that game and they'll make their money back.
Oh, easy.
At one time, you got a Steam key for a game from a developer in Africa.
Yeah, and I feel like an asshole because I never played the game.
How, dude? You got a free game. You never fucking played the game.
Yeah, because that was right around the time where I was having my real personal issues with the house that I had to move away from. So I was in a really bad place during that time.
Oh yeah.
Not to mention, I wasn't really able to record where I was at that point either. So I was kind of just pigeonholed to not do that.
Okay. Fair enough. I apologize and I retract.
I still feel like an asshole for it. I was the one time I ever got a free key for something and I never really did anything with it. Maybe I should play that game at some point. Oh, well, it's something to worry about later.
I would suggest, you know what, just to play it, just to try it out.
I probably should. But anyway, going back, like, I know that I said the 10 people buying a game as an example. Let's be honest. If somebody like Ninja plays like any random game, they're making like thousands of sales off of him.
100%.
Like, you're making more than enough money. Like, let's say you give it away to 1,000 streamers, you're getting at least 100,000 copies sold back if that game is good. If it's good. Yep. No, that's the key here. Because, I mean, developers try that all the time. They'll give free keys away to like every like major streamer they can think of. Doesn't mean the game's going to be any good.
Yeah.
The game's still got to
absolutely,
be good, and it's got to be something that has staying power. That's the reason why games like Fall Guys and Among Us are doing so well.
Oh, Among Us, we got to get that. Ooh. Again, a game I want because I watch people play it on stream.
Yeah.
So, holy hell.
Jason responded to that little stupid thing from Alex and just said, look, I don't know, maybe you're getting flacked because you're picking this particular battle in a world where C-suite executives make $30 million a year and devs don't get royalties, so they'd never see any of that streaming money in the first place.
Okay, that's fucking bullshit that developers don't get royalties because they're the fucking masterminds behind.
Well, yeah, but why would you want to give out royalties when you can be Andrew Wilson, the CEO of EA, who gets $9 million a year to do fuck all?
That guy does nothing.
Can we? Okay, you know what? I'll tell you. Here. I got an idea how we can get more money. Let us all pay $100 to punch him in the fucking face. All the money goes to him. We just get to punch him in the fucking face.
I mean, Andrew Wilson's not my first choice. There's definitely more people in the gaming industry I'd probably go after first.
Ubisoft people.
Yeah, that's a good start. That's a pretty good start.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? We get to pay these CEOs $100.
That's the real microtransaction.
Just once. No, don't punch them in the face.
Watch Dogs Legion, the fuck Ubisoft edition.
Just slap them in the fucking face because that's more demeaning. And you know what? It won't give them a broken nose. It'll just
and you wouldn't get charged with assault. Well, you probably
if you
you
pay
might.
If you pay the $100 and sign a waiver, you're off the hook.
What if they don't sign the waiver?
Yeah, I feel like they have to sign the waiver.
Oh, I would like put my cell phone in a way that I would record the conversation. Be like, so, sorry, what's his name? The Ubisoft.
It's not
guy?
important. Yeah,
I'll be like, so, Mr. Ubisoft douchebag, I pay $100 and get to get to slap you in the face. Like, yes, you do.
Why would you say yes?
Thank you. Because I'm gonna give him $100 just to slap him across the fucking face.
Why do you think he's going to accept it? This
This
hypothetical is pretty unlikely.
Because he's a greedy motherfucker.
No, he's not that. There's a bigger price than that.
Yeah, I think their paycheck's a little too big for $100 to let them get assaulted.
They'd be like, so what? I'm gonna get a cheeseburger at this really fancy place with fucking like caviar and gold sprinkled on it. Fuck you. I don't need that.
But, an endangered mayo.
Oh God.
It's endangered. I know.
Well, Chris. No, you know what? I don't want you to. I wouldn't let you accept $100 to be slapped across the face.
What? You wouldn't let me?
I wouldn't let you. No.
I'll let me. I'll let 5 people do it, and then I'll get my Xbox for free.
Okay, if it was a group package, then yes, I would. But one person, $100.
I'll just put them in a line. I don't care.
Hey, Chris, did you
I'll
say
let them be ex-girlfriends? I don't give a shit.
Did you say if you got 5 of them, you would have enough for an Xbox?
It would pay off a bit of one.
Well, that's a great segue because now we're going to talk about the Xbox.
I love the segues today.
So there's a few stories, but I wanted to start by just talking about their full demo video that they put out. Basically, their own version of the user interface, which was, I want to say, not eventful, but then again, I also have to keep in mind that I already watched the PS5 one, so I'm pretty sure that if we'd seen this one first, there would have been some pretty cool features in here. But it's more of the same that we saw already.
Yeah.
The only thing that they didn't have was they didn't show us picture-in-picture, which is a damn shame. It's a damn shame.
Yeah, I don't know if they have it. They probably don't have it. I'm thinking they don't.
But I mean, generally speaking, what I saw from it, it just looks like, it almost looks like they tried to take the Xbox Game Pass like kind of app and put it into an Xbox, like an actual console on TV. And it looks clean. It looks like, I think again, like PS5 is kind of going a little bit more of the stylish route, I find, and Xbox is going for the simplistic, like nobody can fuck this up kind of format. Yeah, which absolutely. Honestly, if you're trying to sell to everybody to as many people as possible, that's probably your better option. Because when I look at that menu, I'm not inspired by anything. I mean, the fact that you can have dynamic backgrounds now is pretty cool, and that would be pretty interesting to see what you can pull off with that.
Yeah, they're catching up to PlayStation.
Yeah, but well, like the menu's up on the video right now for anybody watching the VOD or watching the live stream. I don't look at it and be like, oh, that's impressive. And it does the thing that I don't like now that I've seen PlayStation 5's one, which is there's too much shit on the screen. I love how simplistic that the PS5 one is.
Too much shit.
So it looks amazing on a 4K monitor when you can see the really vibrant background of a game that they show. So I think that's really nice. But again, I'm not going to sit here and say that, hey, this is the worst home menu I've ever seen, because there's definitely been worse, and I don't think it really matters, because all that's important is the fact that the games load super, super, super fast.
Yes, they do. Yes, and the quick resume is pretty cool, having a few games running at once and then jumping between them. That was fast.
So yeah, really, when I watched the whole thing, I went like, okay, so it's basically everything that we've already either seen from PlayStation or stuff that we've heard already. They didn't really come out with anything like that just made me go, oh shit, that too, other than the fact that they just like reminded people what the date of EA Play will be on Game Pass. So
are we still we're still talking about Xbox or talking about PlayStation right now?
Well, if you let us keep talking, you probably could have found that answer, but yes.
I was away from the mic.
It's Xbox still.
Yes, we know.
Okay.
We saw. If you were watching the video, everybody saw.
You know what's one thing I really liked about this presentation, though? It had two hosts, two guys who were being kind of bro-like, talking about the Xbox, and what the heck? They kept saying like yeah man or yeah bro or something. There's something that one guy kept saying over and over. But when I watched them at the end of it, one of my thoughts was, holy shit, that wasn't cringy. Like usually when you have like two guys up and they're like, oh, it's the Xbox. Oh,
so like
bro,
whenever EA tries to do their like cool presentations, like when they had the two guys for FIFA that one year, like the podcasters for FIFA, and it was the most weird thing.
Fuck. Yeah, like there's cringy shit, and those two guys, I 100% put it in the two hosts.
It felt like us talking to each other, and then happened to throw in like advertising segues. That was the only thing that maybe like. It was literally almost like our equivalent of us talking about something and Vish being like, hey, that's a great point. You know what this reminds me of? The Boys. Like, that was literally some of the segues in their video.
And then it comes up at the bottom of the screen, like, watch The Boys on Amazon.
The only thing that disappointed me is they had
nice, refreshing Pepsi.
The only thing that disappointed me was that on the main screen, they show Crosscode. It's the Game Pass game that they were showing, that they were advertising. I'm like, show them Crosscode. People need to know about that fucking game, and they didn't do it. I'm like, you son of a bitch.
No, they didn't. Yeah, that kind of sucks. But yeah, like the guys weren't cringy. So the writing team probably for them and just those two hosts, fantastic. I would watch them show off Xbox all the time. Like they were believable. I actually believe they were Xbox enthusiasts that just wanted to work at Microsoft and talk about Xbox. Like I loved it.
But they can't take any of Phil Spencer's gimmicks. Only he is allowed to change shirts every time he walks on stage.
Oh yeah. No. He that Phil Spencer can't go anywhere. That guy is like golden. I love that.
That's the other thing. They need
he's
him,
our new Reggie.
They need him to pop into the screen like every once in a while and just have like a completely, again, different shirt every single time. Like the gimmick has to stay alive.
Yeah, it has to. Yeah, he's our new Reggie. Like he's the closest thing we kind of have.
He really is becoming Reggie. You're right. He actually is becoming that because he's becoming good guy Phil because Xbox is no longer being that like shitty company.
Yes.
Xbox is really because they lost so horribly in this generation.
They have to.
But it's still better than what was the guy before him? Why can't I remember his name?
Before Phil?
Yeah.
I can't remember his name either.
I can't think of it either, but he was not good.
No, he's not. That's why I can't even remember.
You know who I miss? I miss Kevin fucking Butler in the PlayStation commercials. Why the fuck is that guy not doing those commercials anymore?
I remember seeing him after on like Boston Pizza commercials.
Yeah, that's where he moved on after.
You know who should come back?
Like
Paul Rudd in Nintendo commercials.
I can take that too. I mean, he hasn't aged, so it works. It's like it really is.
I mean, it would look the exact same. Exactly. You just put on the same clothes and be like, "Whoa, Super Nintendo."
That would be the ultimate battle. Phil Spencer versus Paul Rudd versus Kevin Butler, and I'd be like, "Shit, that's hard."
And it is literally impossible to dislike Paul Rudd.
I mean, you say that, but everybody thought it was going to be impossible to not like Bill Cosby, and we all know how that turned out. So don't be careful. Be careful what you say.
Paul, please.
I really like that Kevin Spacey. Ooh.
What? You didn't get a feeling that something was wrong when you play Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, where he's driving around and goes by. He's like, that's a really nice middle school just over there. Or no, junior high. Sorry, junior high.
To be entirely honest, the Kevin Spacey thing wasn't that shocking. The Bill Cosby thing definitely was.
That's why I say don't mention Paul Rudd. Be careful. It's like I make the joke. Yeah. Please, for the love of God, don't let Dave Grohl turn out to be the biggest douchebag in music.
No, you can't. No, that guy is too good.
You know what it is. You know which one would actually hurt me the most Chris Evans. If it turns out
I
Chris
literally
Evans,
made that joke today. Actually, I was like, man, what's people gonna do if Chris Evans turns out that he diddled kids? Like, what's gonna happen if that ever came out?
I don't
Because there's a fine line. Like if Chris Evans got into like a drunk driving like accident and might have killed somebody, people would be like, yeah, but he's still got America's ass.
No, people would still be mad.
Oh, people would be mad, but they wouldn't they would forgive him eventually. If we're talking like
it could be like it would be a mistake because the
but we're talking like Cosby level shit. We're talking like holy fuck.
Well, like Chris Evans would be the one that I think I would be like, there is literally no good people on this planet. Because, for example, when it was the Seattle and New England Patriots Super Bowl,
it always comes back to fucking football.
No, but Chris Evans and Chris Pratt had an online bet saying whoever wins, they're going to dress up in costume and go to their children's hospital. They did both. But what happened is Chris Pratt had to go to the Seattle hospital with a New England flag as Star-Lord. And just as the losing, but it's like this was a bet that nobody lost. Like they were actually doing it as like just visiting children in hospitals as heroes.
Well, the unfortunate part is that only one of those two seem to be amazingly good people at this point. So
yeah, I know. I'm hearing about. I think the thing with Chris Pratt's a little exaggerated, in my personal opinion, coming from someone who absolutely hates the Republicans. And
I think there's enough ammunition there that I think I have full understanding of why people are on the fence or why people are taking like a very against side of it. Also, I do want to remind people, like, because I've seen people like, oh, why wasn't anybody there when Brie Larson came in? I'm like, that's because Brie Larson literally hadn't stepped foot on the set at that point.
Yep. And
like Chris Pratt had been with them for like a lot longer, so believe me, there were a lot more relationships like that were formed at that point. Brie was still pretty new. I'm not saying it's an excuse, but I'm saying it pretty much explains why a lot of people stood up for Pratt.
It's a situation is that there was one time where Emma, a girl played Juno and played Shadowcat in X-Men.
Oh, Emma. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm drawing.
It's weird that I'm trying
Ellen
to
Page, not Emma. Ellen Page. That's why you fucked me up.
Ellen Page, okay, Ellen Page, where she called out Chris Pratt for visiting because Chris Pratt, because of his son had some bad health issues when he was born and recovered. Chris Pratt found religion and found Christianity, but Chris Pratt visited a church with a very highly anti-gay pastor. So Ellen Page called him out for it, and it's like, what the fuck, man? Like, and it's like, you know what? I don't know. Maybe he's just into his faith and everything. And
I love though when they're like, oh, this church is like anti-homophobic. I'm like, I don't know. That seems pretty normal for religion. I don't know what's so special.
Isn't that just church? So he went to church.
So
just church.
I know. I'm making a sort of joke here. I know that specific church is a little more present than just the
hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but there are a lot of churches that will have the pride flag on their sign saying everyone's welcome, which actually is nice because they don't do that for a lot of the community, and it's good because it's showing like we're inclusive, and like for me religion doesn't mean shit to me, but it's like people of all everything have faith a lot of times, and just because you have a certain lifestyle doesn't mean you should be excluded from it. But Chris Pratt did visit one that was known to be very anti-LGBTQ, and it's like, dude, I'm sorry, you're a very public figure now, where you can't be associated with these people.
Yeah, I mean the reality is like I don't care what you actually believe. The fact that you don't just denounce that immediately and like denounce them for that, it's like, dude, you're just asking for trouble. So moving on from that, because I don't want to spend too much time. I mean, basically, it just comes down to like, hey, like it's a thing, right? But,
I had a really good segue.
Oh, do you now?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know what else is also shocking? How quickly the games loaded onto the Xbox when that Seagate expansion card was plugged in.
Oh shit!
That was the one thing
I
I
had a
forgot.
building when we're
about.
talking back about
That
Bill
thing is like the
Cosby.
size of a Zippo lighter.
I thought it was bigger.
Oh, Bill
I thought it was
Cosby
bigger.
is what made you talk about this.
Yeah, because you guys were like, "Oh, you know what would be shocking?" Paul Rudd, and I was gonna be like, "You know what was shocking? How quick the games loaded onto the Xbox." I had it in my head. I'm like, "Fuck!" Now we're it's so far it won't work. But
honestly, man, I just
Moving on. Moving on.
No, I am going on to this. I can't believe we are now going to be in an era where load times are a thing of the past, where we could play a game seamlessly.
I mean, technically, we didn't have that problem. They were called cartridges.
yeah,
I know.
yeah, the Super Nintendo never had this problem.
If you grew up starting with CDs for games, then that's different. But we actually got no loading times before in our childhood.
Yeah, it was called the 80s and 90s. Things just
like,
loaded. You put
it's just now we're getting to see it with like this amazing like processing power, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah,
and
they showed
that is beyond like belief at this point.
And not to mention, there's going to be the possibility too that you'll just be able to stream it with a TV stick. As we move on to our next story.
Nice segue.
So Phil Spencer hinted.
Fire?
Phil Spencer hinted in an interview that they might be making TV streaming sticks for Xbox Game Pass specifically, so that you could play xCloud on your TV, which makes sense. Why you if you don't have an Xbox,
it totally makes sense,
and you don't want to buy an Xbox, you get this cheaper streaming stick, and you basically just stream the games to your television. Makes sense to me. I don't even really have much to say about it. I'm just like, that's a really fucking smart thing to do.
Yeah, it would be way better than Stadia and Amazon Luna. I'll tell you that.
Well, what's the bar they got to get over there?
Okay, but do you
literally walking straight?
You literally just don't have to trip over the bar that's actually sunken underground at this point.
So with this,
so don't dig a hole.
So with the streaming stick, you just need an Xbox.
As long as you have an account registered to it, that's it.
So
and probably a controller.
Well, yeah.
This essentially let's go. I'm gonna dumb it down, calling it the Xbox Chromecast.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, this Xbox Chromecast. You don't need an Xbox.
Actually, no, I wouldn't call it a Chromecast because you still require your phone. I think you can literally just call it like the Xbox, like Amazon Fire Stick.
Okay, this Xbox Fire, you don't need an Xbox console to play the games. You just need the subscription.
No, you just need the subscription, and you play it like you would have the console. I don't think you would have like the console menus or anything. It would just be whatever the Game Pass menu is.
So, what is the actual reason to buy an Xbox then?
Console. Like,
this
probably,
is streaming.
It's not needing a connection basically.
Yeah, this would be using your internet to
not,
stream
not
it.
to mention, you're going to get better quality out of the console than you would streaming because it's all because the quality would constantly change with the internet. You wouldn't be running 4K at all times. Eventually, it would dip.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've done streaming like for a long.
The idea of
time,
streaming again is for people that aren't like honestly, nobody is buying the streaming stick if you're a hardcore gamer. You're buying the streaming stick if you just want to play a couple games.
Okay.
If you're a Madden gamer and all you do is play Madden, the streaming stick might not be a bad idea for you if you have a good enough connection. I should be careful with what I say because I imagine a lot of sports gamers don't really have the best connections.
Nope.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so essentially,
I could see one other use too.
So
I was going to say like if
the Xbox games very casually, then this streaming service would be pretty pristine.
Or if quite frankly, you just can't afford $500.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, it's Xbox opening the potential for people that can't afford to go with the bigger purchases.
Is there a is there a price point yet announced?
No, because they haven't officially announced it. Phil's just talked about the potential of doing that. Okay. It's an idea being floated.
It's an idea they have.
Okay.
Yeah, and the thing is, I could see somebody owning an Xbox, but say you're like our friend who travels for work a lot around Canada. Instead of lugging an Xbox Series X into your luggage, put this stick there every time you're in a hotel and you're stuck there for a week. Put the Fire Stick or the Xbox stick in the back of the TV in the hotel. You don't have to you can keep playing the games you've been playing already on Game Pass.
You could basically call it, like, we could even just call it xCloud TV. Like, that would basically be what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Plus, you have it on your phone because xCloud's on phones, so you can like play xCloud, like Game Pass basically while you're on the bus. Then you go to your hotel and then you play it on the TV using your like Xbox stick, and then you go home and load up your Xbox and play the same game. Like,
So you can,
that's
so you
really
be on
cool.
A hotel, so you can be in a hotel, be on your cell phone, and be at home, and your Xbox game is like transition the entire fucking time.
Yep, ideally, yes.
That's
pretty
super
awesome,
cool.
actually.
Like that's
What I said from the very beginning.
cool.
Xbox is not going to be the best games; they're going to be the most accessible games. That's their goal.
Yes.
Well, in all
Yes,
fairness,
they are going for the best customer experience.
besides exclusive content, the like most games are universally available.
Well, but and again, too, like more people are still going to PlayStation just because of the brand at this point, because that's where the respect is. So Xbox's method of trying to get some of that back is by making it so affordable, by giving you so many different options. This may end up backfiring in the long term for them just because of how much money they're probably spending on all these various outlets. However, if it ends up being as good as it hopes to be, you make that money back and just purely how many subscriptions you're going to constantly have, how many games you're selling, like all the peripherals you'd be selling. So that's their hope, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Phil also had one other thing he was saying that's very related to this, where he was saying if it was up to him and the other companies allowed it, he would love xCloud, the same streaming service on the Switch and PlayStation. Obviously, there's no way Sony would ever do it. There's just no way. Like that would be Sony being like,
I think there is always a way, but it's the probability is so low. I think even specifically on both, because Nintendo also just could not give a fuck less about anything outside of their bubble.
Yeah, true. I don't know. Microsoft and Nintendo have been.
If you had to tell me who has the better odds, it's obviously Nintendo, but that's because Nintendo isn't necessarily a competitor to them. Nintendo's literally.
They're like, put our game.
Like Sony and Microsoft are fighting on Earth, and Nintendo just like, fuck it, we'll just have the moon. Fuck you guys. We'll have our own place.
Yep. I mean, if xCloud came to the
Actually,
Switch,
you know what, Chris? I'll have fun with this. Sony is Earth. Xbox is Mars. Actually, no, Xbox would be Earth. Sony would be Mars. And Nintendo is the belt.
Beltalauda.
See, Vish would understand this if he watched The Expanse.
Yeah. Yeah, they totally are the belt. Holy shit. Oh, that's the best example I've ever heard of my entire life for video games.
And then the Stadia is the planet that they land on in Season 3 because it's constantly trying to kill you.
Fuck that. Yeah, fuck that. Blow up that planet. Fuck you, Stadia.
But yeah, there's a lot of cool things going on with Xbox. And to finish off with one more cool story, this was fucking amazing. I don't know if I think I posted this in our Discord, the VR treadmill thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. That is going to be the future of home gyms.
That's literally the thing that I said. That's the goal for me when it comes to VR, because that's actual exercise and video gaming at the same time. So basically, the Virtue X Omni 1, it's supposed to be coming out next year. I think the price point, if I remember correctly, $2,000 US. It's a full treadmill. It's not even like a treadmill. It's not like the things are moving. It's just a slippery enough surface that you keep going on it. You're plugged into it, like on the backside, you're covered so that way you won't fall. Well, I'm sure somebody eventually will fall over. You'll figure out a way. But it looks like you can run in this thing. You can crouch in it. It seems like, I guess the only thing you probably can't do yet is go prone, because I don't know how that would work on the treadmill. So it would just be limited to like foot movement. But it's the idea that it's a literal full immersive walking VR for games. Like you could play Counter-Strike in that.
Imagine playing like some massive competitive like Call of Duty, what's the Warzone or whatever the big one is now, where it's like 100 people competing.
Yeah, Warzone.
But like that VR.
Do you know how many kids we would have that would not be obese anymore because of this game?
The United States has become the healthiest country in the world.
And I'm not even saying that joke. I mean, it is kind of a joke in the way, because again, like, it is pretty bad.
You have legitimate points.
To be as like, I don't care if I'm offending anybody. This is the shit that we need as soon as possible, because we need to get people's healths in order.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
No, it
Like,
really is
especially
because
young, like the younger generation. Like, holy
Now,
shit.
granted, a $2,000 price point is not going to help, but
nope.
in 2021 at $2,000 could be under $1,000 within 10 years.
And there's also
Oh, yeah.
alternate options for this. So, for example, this week I've been on my exercise bike quite a lot, and you can actually YouTube virtual trails. Like you can YouTube a Hawaiian mountain trail and just bike through it. Essentially, just have something visually stimulating instead of just biking, because biking gets boring quite quickly. So
that's
with
why you
this,
bike and play video games at the same time, like I do at home.
I guess so. But what
Yep.
you can
did
do
that
with
once
this
and fell off the bike because my
is
legs didn't work.
you can essentially walk on it and walk through trails, like walk through like Death Valley, walk through some of the California mountains, walk through Mount Everest potentially. Like these options are available for you to not just use it as a gaming console, but as a virtual reality world travel option.
Oh, I got a good one. It starts off like a trail, and you're in somewhere cool, like a really cool forest, and it's all the VR, and you're on this cool treadmill. And then as you're running, fucking zombies, and then more zombies. And if you don't run fast enough,
Oh my
fucking
God.
zombies eat you. Now
Okay,
that's how you exercise.
What I think they should do though is they should have a controller that's similar to a like when the Wii came out and they had a Resident Evil shooter game. Have a controller similar to that, so it's like you have a handgun with you.
Yeah,
just to shoot
the
around.
thing with VR that still bugs me is the way that the controllers are designed, because it takes away some of the naturalness to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, then again, we got used to controllers and mouse and keyboard for forever, so what do we know, right?
Yeah, who looked at a keyboard and went, that's going to be perfect for video games? Like, I'm sorry, where? Where is that going to be perfect for video games? Oh, keyboards. Either way, treadmill looks cool.
But yeah, it's definitely one of those things that I'm like, man, like it's going to be $2,000, so it's going to be way out of a lot of people's prices range, and it's not going to have like first party game. It's not going to have amazing games. It's going to be like more tech demos than anything. But it's the idea that it's groundwork. I see so many people commenting on this thing and be like, but there's nothing for it. I'm like, that's not the point. They've laid down the groundwork. It's for the same thing. Like everybody goes back and looks at OnLive because OnLive was the original attempt at game streaming. There's a reason that I look at OnLive very fondly, because they started it. For the same reason that so many other companies, when it comes to virtual reality, motion controls, all these things, it doesn't matter if the first attempts aren't great. What matters is that they made it worked enough to the point that somebody who's better at it can make it better and make it more accessible.
Yes.
Because, yes, 2021, not everybody's going to be having a VR treadmill in their house. But 10 years from now, 15, 20 years from now, it will be commonplace.
It will be totally honest,
and actually, in a crazy scenario, and I didn't mean to cut you off, Vish, but a lot of us are going to suddenly not have to go to gyms anymore because we won't have to.
I think 5 years from now, if the price point is competitive.
I say 10 just because I'm not sure the price point would go down fast enough to make that accessible for like everybody. Like Pelotons are still like $1,000 right now, so I have a hard time believing that a VR treadmill for exercise would be cheaper.
Yep. Yeah. Our friend Theo has one, and it's like they're not cheap.
No.
And but I think essentially if somehow PS, Xbox, and Nintendo somehow brand their own, then there's a chance that third-party companies would make a more competitive.
I mean, Nintendo has. It's that stupid cardboard thing. You just got to make a cardboard circle to run on.
Yeah, have you guys not played Labo yet?
Fuck. I hate those things.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know who's buying it, but I don't think it's anybody. I don't know.
Probably just the couple of people they needed to, because they probably cost them like $5 to make, and they still sell
That's
for
true.
like $70.
They're like, hey, we turned a 30,000% profit.
So I'm just wondering, do we have any other major topics to look into?
Yes, one major thing that's left, and I didn't tell you guys about because it literally happened. I noticed it as I was getting set up for the stream. So.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yep. So Game Informer came out with full survey results that they did for the next generation for what they asked fans of. So I have a bunch of stats here that I thought would be really interesting, considering that we have a new generation coming out in literally less than 2 weeks. So they don't tell the numbers of how many people did this, but I mean, it's Game Informer. They probably had a pretty decent amount to go through. This isn't like some random ass website. This is Game Informer. So first question, pretty easy one. Which next console are you most excited about? 71.4% since PS5, 28.6% since Xbox Series X. Makes about sense to me. It feels like it has been like a 3-to-1 difference between it because, again, most people have already been on the side of PS4 because they already own one. Not to mention, on top of that Xbox, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, and I know a lot of people probably agree with it, but some don't, PlayStation has done a lot more, at least in terms of launch, to show to people why they should be getting that first. So I think it makes sense, too, that more people are excited about a console that actually seems to have some substance to it at launch. I mean, I think for all three of us, because I might as well ask the questions, too, I think all of us are more excited for the PS5 right now than the Series X. Chris is getting both, but I would assume that he's more excited for the PlayStation than the Xbox.
To be entirely honest, I think this happened the last time between PS4 and Xbox One, where I was certainly more excited for the PS because I've always been a PS and Nintendo guy. But I felt that the Xbox had more to offer. Where right now, the way you guys are describing the Xbox Series X, the next Xbox, I feel like it actually is offering more with the.
It's offering quantity. Like again, like it's quantity versus quality at this point. Like Sony's going to have the Game of the Year's exclusives, whereas Xbox is going to have purely like the best possible experience for you. So it really just comes down to what you want. That's what I've said so many times on the show. Between the three companies, they all have their own market now. Sony's for the hardcore, Microsoft's for everyone, Nintendo's for their like little niche market.
Yep, and
so it really depends on what you want. If you're looking for a better experience that's not going to break your bank as much, you probably go Xbox. But if you're like me, who's just looking for the best games on the best hardware, PS5 is going to be your option. And I think that's why more people are excited for it now, because they've come off of just playing Spider-Man, God of War, Uncharted 4, Last of Us 2, Horizon. I can keep going, but you get the point here. So I think, again...
Actually, I guess my response...
Like, you're getting both. Which one are you more excited to play at launch, Chris? Like, there's the easy question right there.
So here's the interesting thing. I'm more excited to play the PlayStation games, but I'm more excited to go into the Xbox hardware. Like to goof around in Game Pass and like do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So there's not a specific game on Xbox I'm excited for at all. Like it's all games that are just going to be on Xbox Game Pass, and you know, I'll play stuff that I don't know. Either I already could have got on anyways on PC or something, or on PlayStation. But like I'm more excited just to see, I guess, where Xbox is going to go with Game Pass. I get more excited when it's like, oh, this is being added. Like all the different stuff they're doing. But if I think like, what do I want to do? I want to play Miles Morales. You know, I want to play that. I'm going to play the definitive edition of Spider-Man. I'm also excited, but this is because I didn't get to play them before, like the God of War and all the PlayStation games that were added that PlayStation collection. I'm going to finally play all those.
I guess so the ultimate question really is, which would you turn on first if you had both at the same time? That's really like the closest question.
Okay, PlayStation right now.
Yeah, PlayStation for sure.
And that's kind of where I think this question kind of leans anyway.
Yeah, but where would I want to goof around on? Xbox.
Well, yeah, because you're going to get a lot of freebies that are like out of your range. Like again, like I never would have played Crosscode had it not been for Game Pass. So there's always that.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm going to be excited to search through Xbox. PlayStation, I'm going to be turning on with a mission. Like I'm going into God of War. I'm going into, maybe I'll buy Final Fantasy VII. Maybe I'll buy Ghost of Tsushima. Maybe I'll be, you know, I don't know.
You're playing Sony with a purpose. You're playing Xbox to explore.
Yeah, Xbox is like going on Netflix. It'll be like, oh, I wonder what is on here. Like
that's honestly Game Pass every couple of weeks, really.
Yeah, and that's why I'm super excited for. Like each of them have their own features. I'm super excited for Xbox. I'm going to be not playing it very seriously. It's going to be more casual. It 100% is, and that's why I'm excited for that quick resume, because I'll have 3 Game Pass games going at the same time, because I don't really care about playing one specifically to completion, unless like after I'm playing it, I'm like, wow, that was really good. I want to keep playing it, like with you with Crosscode. But that's why quick resume will be great, because I'll install 4 games and I can have all 4 of them running and just quickly resume, go back between them and just goof around. PlayStation, I'm more excited because when I launch one of those games, I'm going to be in the zone, and to have those features of those cards and stuff in the UI, because I'm a trophy hunter. So having the, listen, you just finished this level, there's these 2 things left. I'll throw up one of the hints and quickly go back and do it. So I'll be very focused in the PlayStation. So I'm excited for all those features, because also being so focused, I'm going to need to keep myself sane, picture in picture, throw on music, throw on one of you guys playing a game, throw on Twitch, I don't know, something, so that I'm like focused, but like I'm also like, oh yeah, society exists here. I'll put them in the corner.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for both, but yeah, PlayStation, if I had to pick one I'm going to turn on, 100% it's going to be PlayStation.
So the following
100%.
thing really, I think, is the best descriptor of what this generation is going to look like, possibly. So the question was, which next-gen console do you plan to purchase? PS5 at 56%, Xbox Series X at 15%, both at 23.5%, and I think most of these people are trolling or lying. It says neither at 5.5. It's like you're not taking the survey if you're not planning on buying one of them. You're just being a dick.
Yeah.
So I take that stat with a grain of salt.
Did you say buying Xbox Series X was 15%?
It's lower. It's lower than both. So I think that's the interesting part. That potentially people are more looking at the Xbox Series X or the Series. Well, I guess because it counts the Series S as well, I would assume. So I think more people are looking at the Xbox as a complementary console than an actual like main console. Which again, if that's what Xbox is shooting for, they don't want to be your first console. They just want you to buy it so you touch it. Like I don't think they're looking to be your home. They just want you to. They just want to find a way to get you to buy it.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's crazy that, because if you're asking me this question, that's exactly what it was. Excuse me. First it was PlayStation only, and then Xbox started coming out with all this stuff, and it was like, here's a deal, sign up for Game Pass, blah, blah, blah. It became both. At no point would have I ever sacrificed that PlayStation to get an Xbox.
Yeah, I'm honestly at a point that I think
it on,
if I could afford to somewhere down the line, I probably would own both.
Yeah. And again, Xbox has that like all access monthly payment, because again, they know this.
Yep.
However, is it worth getting an Xbox if you have a good gaming PC?
I still say yes, because again, it's specifically, most of these things are designed specifically for that console. So again, and it also depends too. Like, I don't see the issue in having 3, even for that matter, because again, like not everybody lives alone like me right now. So I could also be thinking, well, fuck, I want to play Xbox, but my girlfriend really wants to use the PC right now. There's also that option. I think it really just depends on what your purpose is and what your situation is. Especially if you are a family with kids, oh, good Lord, you want both. So I think it really just depends person to person. Is it worth getting both? I think it really depends on your situation. I don't think there's a clear-cut answer to it.
Yeah. And I think it depends. Like the problem is, and this, I can't believe that I've run into this. My PC cost me, like, I know I've upgraded it twice, but I put $3,500 into it. Right now, I would say the PC I have was $1,600. Let's just go with that. That is, yes, at the time, very powerful. And yes, I would have had Game Pass and Steam. And technically, yeah, you don't need anything else because you have this high-end PC. But quickly, after a few years, that goes away and you got to upgrade, which would cost another, say, $700,
because again, it's the whole thing with consoles. You know that until that life cycle is over, every game that comes out for it is optimized specifically for that. It's the same thing that I've said so many times with PC. You might have a really powerful PC, but if it's not optimized well for your getup, it still might not work the way you want it to. So at least you know every time you buy a console, getting it. Whether it's valuable or not, compared to having, like, if I had a PC with a 3090 fucking card, the most powerful card on the market, yeah, maybe getting an Xbox is kind of weird. But even then, you could still, there's still going to be games that might still specifically only come around on the Xbox, because we don't know. Not everything gets put on Game Pass for PC at this point. Some stuff still goes by the wayside. So,
yeah. And even then, like, say you're like me and I'm mostly a couch gamer. So my computer is hooked up to the TV and I run Steam Big Picture. But if you want to run Game Pass, Like, that's not just like pick up the controller and launch it and play all these games. You've got to add Game Pass using a specific program that adds Windows programs specifically to Steam, launch it, then you have to go grab the mouse, click on the game there, and launch it, and then go back to controller. It's like this whole ordeal.
That's why the TV stick is also going to be a great idea too if they go forward with that, because it eliminates that part as well.
100%. Like, I can't even turn on my computer with my controller. I can do it with a Steam controller, but like no one's going to really want to use that. Well, some people, but not me. But like Xbox, PlayStation, you press the controller, it turns on, you press the game, it downloads, you press it again, you're in.
You don't got to move for shit.
There's nothing. Like the console,
you can
that's
sit
one
there
thing
naked in a beanbag chair eating Cheetos and do whatever you want.
Yeah. Like if you sit at a desk, if you're a person who buys an Xbox and you have a gaming PC, but you're going to hook it up at your desk with your 1440p monitor, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're already at a desk, just hook up the computer. You're using keyboard and mouse. Like, if you're getting an Xbox or something, like, it's for the TV. Like, just, that's what it's for. If you're putting it at a desk, stick with your computer, just spend the $500 and upgrade it and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
It depends what you're getting or what you want to use it for.
Next one was just what current gen consoles people own. It was a lot closer on some things. Like PS4 was 44.8, Xbox One 13.7, both was at 37.9, and neither was at 3.6. So fuck the neither ones. No one cares.
It's essentially the world is you either own PlayStation, both, or pretty much Xbox is like.
Solo Xbox users are definitely becoming less like that, and I think that's what Xbox probably realized too, is that they're not probably going to be able to compete with Sony for dominance. They might as well just try to be a complement, and that's why I think all these business strategies are what they are, is because I think they're probably thinking, like, there's a radio station locally here in Canada called Funny 820, and their running gag is that your second favorite radio station, it's the one you come back to when there's nothing on your favorite station. If there's a certain song not on, or if you're listening to talk radio and they're talking about something you don't give a shit about, you turn on the comedy station. I think that's what Xbox wants to be. If you're like, if Chris, for example, gets through his backlog and there's just nothing on the sales on the store right now that he wants to play, you can just pop on his Xbox and play Game Pass and find something. And it's not going to cost him much. I think that's what probably Microsoft is looking to do. They're trying to be like the place you go to when you got nothing else.
Yeah.
And they still are going to have something for the hardcore, but they're going to be more there as like your backup.
Yeah, because if you're just going to have a 1080p TV or monitor or something, you get the Series S. It's cheap. You do a monthly subscription of $30 Canadian a month, and then it's just the streaming service that you can put next to your PlayStation. Or if you are a hardcore gamer and you just can't afford both, and for some reason you ended up with Xbox, still have the ability to buy, the new Assassin's Creed or whatever you're going to buy. It's there if you need it, but I don't think that they're going to expect everybody to actually go that route. I think they've seen these stats, because I didn't know that about last gen too, that it was either PlayStation or both as like the order. Like, I thought there was more just Xbox One only owners out there.
Actually,
and there's not.
What? I'll look up the stats here to see what the official sales are for both. And this is only counting the default. I don't know if it's going to count the Pro and the Xbox One X's in here.
Oh yeah.
Let's see.
Because I know PlayStation 4 just hit like 114 million, or like almost.
Let's see. What's the last thing that I'm seeing here? This isn't helping me either. Yeah, this doesn't help me at all. Well. But I mean, either way, like, it's definitely been considerably different. Like, I could almost say it could be like a 2-to-1 for PlayStation to Xbox at this point.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, I don't think the Xbox got very high. I think it's like 40, 50.
It's just PS is made for gamers. Xbox is just made for just the average Joe.
I don't like that comparison, because again, it's not gamers isn't necessarily an all-encompassing term for hardcore. That's why I try to make the difference of saying it's for hardcore gamers. Xbox is for everyday gamers.
Yeah, the new Xbox. Because if you think about it, like last generation, or the generation that's just ending, the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, the Xbox One S is the most powerful home console that exists. And even the Series X, technically, I think power-wise, beats the PS5.
Yeah,
like, obviously,
in
we won't
sheer
know the
numbers,
full details
the X does beat it.
Yeah, like it is. If you were to look, a historian looking back 100 years ago or something, looking at the book, like, oh, what was console generations like? They'd be like, on paper, oh wow, the Xbox was clearly the one for the super powerful gamer because of how powerful it is. I think it's more branding and the games. Like,
well, I mean, it's like how many sports teams are literally the best teams on paper but never win. Like it happens all the time. Sometimes you can have the best team, but you don't always win. So with Xbox, like you can have the most powerful console, but if your games just don't show up, because I mean the best example, like if we're comparing it to sports, you can have the best team if they don't show up in the playoffs, it doesn't matter. If you're Xbox and you have the best like console in terms of power, but your best games are not as great as on the days that they're released as compared to all the other games when they're released. That's just how it is. So, it really just comes down to like you can't just have the best hardware because it doesn't mean anything in the end if the games aren't nearly as good. And that's kind of what PlayStation realized is they said, well, we can have really good hardware, but if we don't have the best games, it doesn't matter. Nintendo kind of thinks this way too, where they don't really care about the power of their consoles so much as they just want to create the best experiences they can create. They may still not sell as much because not enough, like Switches aren't selling nearly as much as PlayStation 4s have in the long term, but it doesn't really matter because everybody who gets a Switch is getting those games, so they're getting their money's worth out of every game they pump out under their brand.
That's the thing with Nintendo. It's that while their library is very small, their library is still strong in quality. Like
for their user base, they're buying that library.
Yeah, for sure.
Very much so.
And the crazy part even with that is like, so there's a game called Hollow Knight, super popular indie game.
Gonna be free next month on PlayStation, by the way.
It's going to be free next month on PlayStation. It's currently on Game Pass, and I own it on Steam. So if I were to actually go and play that game, I have no idea which one I'd load up. That will actually be a moment where I have a small panic because then I'll be like,
you're gonna have like a 3-sided die, and every time you're like, what should I play it on, and just roll it.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what's crazy though about this? I think about what do I want to play it on, and the one that pops into my head, my Switch. Because it's this indie Metroidvania game that is pretty, but like it's not like a heavy graphics game and necessarily needs to be played on the TV. I'd like to play on the TV, but I'd love to take that game and go into bed and just play it. I
don't know, that game's pretty frustrating. Switch. Maybe not take that one to bed.
That's true. Yeah, that it is kind of hard. But still, it's like I would love that game portably, that it's even though I have it on all 3 other systems, if it went on sale for like $5 on Switch, I would maybe drop that $5 and be like, fuck yeah. Yeah. And I'll play it there.
And
just
again,
because of the portability of the console.
Portability, fuck yeah.
It's the beauty of things, like you have the selection, you have the ability to choose and based on your situational like preference, right? So
yeah, absolutely. I was even thinking the other day, I really, 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 really wish Yakuza 0 was on my Switch. God, that would be so good on there. Because the UI is like kind of big and the way the world looks, I would take that with me everywhere. Yakuza game. God damn. But either way.
Speaking of the Yakuza games, let's go into the next question. This is the worst segue I've tried to make. Which next-gen console has the coolest looking design? 69.2% for the PS5, 30.2% for the Xbox Series X.
Okay. There's not even a competition.
Well, yeah, the Xbox is literally a rectangle. I know people make fun of the PS5 design, but like, at least it's a design.
It looks fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like even the people that make fun of it, it's like at least it has like a design to it that isn't just square.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm glad I'm getting both in the sense that if I just got the Xbox, I'd look at it and be like, okay, but like when are you going to do the thing where you look interesting? Like when are you going to do it? Like, I don't know.
Oh, they're not.
I look at my Switch and it's like you can change the controllers on the side and make it like your own color scheme and shit. Like there's a little bit of fun there. And you look at the PlayStation, it's like cool. Like somebody clearly designed
get protective skins for the Switch to make it look different. Whereas,
there's skins for the PlayStation and the Xbox that are already.
I really hope. Speaking of skins, I really hope PlayStation does a design lab like Xbox does for its controllers.
Oh, actually, there is
controllers.
One,
yeah,
I believe.
No. I'm not talking a third party. I'm talking like from Sony themselves.
Yeah,
Xbox literally has their
design
own
lab. Was one of the coolest things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that twice.
Because there's a million places to get custom controllers from, but if Sony did it directly, it's also going to be cheaper too.
Yeah,
because if you go to Scuff or any place, like it's not cheap, just even for a basic recoloring.
Yeah. Yeah, damn though.
Next,
the Xbox is definitely the most boring.
Yeah. Next one
Like,
is
yeah.
how important is backwards compatibility to you? I don't agree with these numbers. I think people are lying. Because the numbers are very important at 41.9, somewhat important at 44.1, and 14% for not important.
No,
I don't think people actually think it's.
definitely.
I don't think people actually think it's that important. I think they just say that because that's the thing right now. Most people will not go back and play their games as soon as a year or so passes.
I get that, but I think it is very important because it's just.
Well, is it actually very important?
Clutter
Yes,
and
but is it
clutter.
actually very important to every gamer as they play the console? No, most of them forget about it. Most of us are not going to go back and play our PS4 games because there's going to be so much else going on. Like, if you're in Chris's case, backwards compatibility technically doesn't even count for him either because he's not playing backwards compatible games so much as he's playing digital versions of games that are redone for the console.
When I was when I got my PS2, sorry, I'll be quick. When I got my PS2, I was in the midst of playing Final Fantasy VII. I never finished it because I got my PS2 and started playing games on the PS2.
Well, can I ask the question, did you get the PS2 or did you get it bought for you? Because this is when we're still a little bit younger.
Okay, it was a gift.
Okay, so that's the difference.
But
most people, I don't mean to.
When I got it, I was 22. It wasn't that.
That doesn't mean anything. I don't care about that stat. The thing is you didn't buy that console. Very few people are buying consoles when they're in the middle of something. If you're buying the console, you're ready to move. I don't think you're buying a PS5 with the implication that, oh, I got 10 games on my PS4 I want to finish. You're thinking, I want the new thing. So most people 2 years later into buying it, like let's say you get it at launch, I guarantee you 2 years into that console, no one gives a fuck about PS4 discs anymore. Because I know this because I finish games and even like a year later I look at them and be like, I don't really think of going back. So I don't think a lot of people actually care that much. I think it's just because they think, well, yeah, I'd love to be able to play my games again, but most people would never do it. That's why I think the stat is a little bit misleading. I don't think 42% of people are actually really caring about backwards compatibility. I think they're more just saying, I kind of hope they do that. Well, if the question was, will you actually use it? I don't think nearly as many people would say the same if they were being truthful.
I think that stat is definitely overblown. I do think there's people that care. I definitely care. Like that is actually the reason I got out of the console game for a while. PS3 had the PS4 had E3 presentation came up, no backwards compatibility, and I'd spent all this money on getting these old retro games that I really, really wanted to have. Sonics, Final Fantasies, Chrono Trigger, that kind of stuff on PlayStation. And then I realized on PC that was the only place I could actually get full backwards compatibility. That was the sole reason I moved over. Because for me, yes, I totally agree. A lot of it is overhyped. I'm not going to play some random game like Vampire or something by Don't Nod and then be like, man, I got to really go back and play that Vampire game again, like 7 years.
There's so much going on now that it's real. Like if this was a couple generations ago, it's easier because there weren't nearly the flood of games. It's so much harder to care about backwards compatibility when you're overrun with games. It's really hard to go back and play games unless, like, if you're a streamer and you're going back and doing stuff, or you're doing it for like YouTube, or you're playing games like old games for parties with friends. Like that's one thing, but literally just solo gaming for me, it's really hard to think of going back. Like I have PS2 games on my shelf, 360 games on my shelf. I'm not going back and playing them, not because I don't want to. It's because there's just I don't have time when there's all this other stuff I want to get to.
Finished them though?
Most of the games on my shelf, yeah.
Okay.
For me, it depends on the franchise. Like, I would love to go back and play every Uncharted game. I feel like I could do that once every 10 years. Go back, play every single one. Assassin's Creed, go back and play some of them. Yeah, true. Assassin's Creed, they're pretty long. I would go back and play Assassin's Creed 2 right now, and have been actually thinking about it. Like, there are certain franchises, Sonic the Hedgehog and Final Fantasy, those two. Like, I have replayed every Final Fantasy like 10 times.
Even
except
7?
Like 7? Oh yeah. I'm halfway through a playthrough on Steam right now.
Oh wow.
It's actually installed and playing, and I just at one point it went for like $6 on the Switch. I rebought Final Fantasy 7 on there just so I could have it on the go. Like, I will replay some of those old games, but it's got to be a specific franchise, like Uncharted, Tomb Raider, Assassin's Creed, Final Fantasy, Sonic the Hedgehog, and not like fucking Forces or
there's a
whatever
few
shit. Like I'm
games where
talking
I've been
good 10 or
able.
25.
There's been a few games that I've been able to do that. A few examples is God of War. I played it like right away after I finished it, just to play it again. Legend of Dragoon, I got to the fourth disc, but I didn't finish it completely. Dino Crisis, I completed everything, and same with Dino Crisis 2. And one more. Resident Evil 4. Okay,
Another thing too, we have to keep in mind,
like
like there are two major, like if I really think about it, there are two major reasons that keep us from really going too in depth with backwards compatibility today compared to say 15, 20 years ago. The flood of games now, and the fact that so many games now are much longer than they used to be.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my god. I don't know if I could ever replay Odyssey. Not because I don't want to. I would have an urge like 6 years from now. I'd be like, man, I really want to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey again. But like 120 hours?
Oh,
I can't
like
do that.
Mass Effect,
No.
the trilogy is apparently for a million years now. It's been rumored to have a remastered collection. I don't think I'll play it. I don't think I
will,
have.
but that's because I never played through them.
But I mean, in my case, I've played through the series like 3 times. I don't know if I could justify it again now because I have all this other stuff now. This isn't like on 360. I had plenty of time because I wasn't working nearly as much. I didn't have as crazy much of a social life as I used to then. I was a bit more of a loner then. So it was easier to find time to go through 40, 50-hour games over and over again and replay them because I had the time. Now it's not the same anymore. So again, it's situational, but I think for a lot of us, I don't know if backwards compatibility is even like... It's a necessary thing that we'd like to have because, again, you'd like to move on. Or if you're somebody that missed out on that console, like in your case, Chris, even if they didn't have the PlayStation Plus collection, you could still at least go back and buy some of those games you missed. So the option still remains. That's the important part. Yeah. I'm not saying that in terms that backwards compatibility isn't important. That's not what I'm ever saying. I'm just saying that I think when people say that they think it's very important, they're only saying it in the same reasons that I'm saying it right now. It's important as a feature, but they're not actually going to use it. That's why I think that number's a little misleading. Yeah, I don't think everybody's going to use it in the exact same
did you
level.
say it was like 41%?
Yeah, it's 41, 44 somewhat.
Yeah, no.
I think it would be...
I would
if it was
say
honesty,
it's closer...
If there was an honesty thing, it would be a lot more somewhat. Especially if it came to how important it is for you to use it. Yeah. Like if it was how many you actually going to use it, that number drops. That's the sure thing to me.
Yeah. And again, like I love it, but I only need it for certain games that I know, like franchises I love so much that I will get an urge every so often to go back and play. But that's what my computer's for. Like in the new generations, I don't really care anymore because if I really, really care about an old game, chances are it's on PC and I'll pick it up there. But again, not everybody has that ability, right? Like it's not like, yeah.
So this is the one that I think is the worst. Which of the following technical features is the most important to you? I don't believe the results of these for a second. I think it's bullshit. But faster loading times at 41.4%. Yep, makes sense. Yeah, better graphics is second at 30.9%. That makes no sense.
Feel like they upgraded.
That makes no sense. The graphics are not better. Like they're better so intrinsically small that most of us won't notice the difference.
I don't think graphics are actually better. I think they've just upped the resolution. I honestly think it's that and the frame rate.
And smoother frame rate is below that at 27.7. The reality is it should be much higher for frame rate compared to graphics. If graphics 100%. Got more than 15%, I think that was a problem. The fact that 31% of people said the most important feature is better graphics tells me that these people don't understand what they're looking at.
No. That's like, and maybe this is because I was in the PC world for so long. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, maybe it's because I'm in the PC world for so long that, like, there was no generations in PC. Like, sure, I guess there's console generations, and then
you were used to it being marginally better every year, whereas like console gamers are used to like this massive shift.
Yeah, like I saw Shadow of the Tomb Raider come out. I remember Vishal, you were saying like, oh, the graphics weren't that great, but on the PC version compared to Rise of the Tomb Raider, Shadow looked insane.
I thought Shadow looked amazing. I thought.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't it. I just didn't think it was so. In my personal opinion, I think gaming graphics are as good as it should be.
Oh, we're not having this conversation again.
I'm gonna keep going towards because I don't think it needs to get any more realistic or any more like detailed. I think
to which I
now
say I
it is-
strongly disagree. It's just this generation isn't that
Okay.
time.
Yeah, it's not that time. It may be a little bit of detail. I think it's more
Not to
now
mention-
just like clearing up the image we already have.
Not to mention, I don't think there's really the tech right now to make like that much of a better improvement right now. Because not everybody's going to have an 8K TV. Like we're at a
Nobody
point
is.
that we're
We're not
hitting
having
like the
an
point that
8K
we can
TV.
get to now, where we should be focusing on the technical aspect rather than the power, the graphical power.
I
It can
think
still get better, and
really-
I fully expect it to get better. It's just right now the focus should be 60 frames per second than anything else.
I think.
Oh
it
yeah,
should be
that
more-
is hands down number one.
I think it should be more focused on the performance rather than the actual visual
Yeah.
aesthetics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 60
Now,
frames
if-
per
now if that
second and,
means
like,
the
a
next
decent frame
generation-
resolution.
Now, if that means the next generation, they can take a good crack at making another like solid improvement because we don't know what tech's going to be like in 6, 7, 8 years. Then go for it.
Yeah.
Make a game so realistic that we go, holy shit! It's like we're playing a movie. Like I would love that for some games.
Fuck, man, dude, we felt like that when the PlayStation first came out.
Well, that's because we're dumb as fuck.
PS1.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I would love
Yeah.
to play like a
Oh,
game like
God.
Life is Strange, for example, that doesn't require a lot of action. I would love to have a game like that in full detail, like full real detail.
Mm.
Like that would be great. I'm not.
VR.
I think it would be a little bit strange, like a Call of Duty game where it's so realistic. I'm like that would be a little strange.
To be entirely honest, that'd be
Mm.
really disturbing as well.
Well, that's the thing. I think there's very specific cases where you don't want that. I think horror games would obviously really, really improve on that because if you can make it so real that it
Yes.
scares you, man, you don't even have to be that scary. You can just make it look real and just have somebody look like they're coming at you with a knife and you're fucking scared shitless. Also, Vishal, I think you're frozen.
Yeah, horror racing. No, he's gone.
Yeah, I think he's super gone.
Excuse me.
He takes 2 breaks and
I
now
don't know if
he's he's frozen in time.
That's a good image.
This is probably going to break the stream setup in a minute if he leaves the call, but it is what it is.
No, don't do it. Leave him. Vishal, don't leave. But yeah, like I totally agree. Like 60 frames per second, get a decent resolution so it matches TVs and stuff. And like just keep the loading times, like keep the performance, like work on that. Like that's what matters right now. Graphics, they're already good. They'll improve a little bit. It's not like they're going to stay stagnant. But that's what really matters.
I don't know what the fuck happened. My computer just disconnected on me. So
Cool.
awesome.
It's okay. We just talk shit
Nice.
about you. Nothing out of the
Peace, Mike.
ordinary.
Hey, can you guys hear me now?
It's a little
we
shady
can
at
hear
this
you.
point.
Hang on 1 second.
I ain't hanging on for shit. I'm moving on. We got a podcast to run.
Okay, move on. Go
Look,
ahead.
once you think you're back, like just chime back in. We'll keep going as we go.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Next up was how important are console exclusive games to you when deciding what system to buy? 57.6% being very important. That makes sense because most of them are getting PS5, so that would probably be the reason as to why they got the
Yes.
PS5. Somewhat important,
Yep.
32.1, not important, 10.3. So yeah, that makes perfect
Higher?
sense given the console setup
Yeah.
right now between the Xbox and the PS5. Makes perfect sense. If next-gen games had a price point of $70 each, this is US, so for us, it's now $80. Would you be willing to pay that
Yeah.
amount? This is the answer that I think really means a lot. Only 59% said yes. Which to me,
59.
They'd
If
be
that-
still willing.
if that is true, if that's an actual accurate, if let's say it's 60% of gamers will accept the 70% price point, that is the best we've gotten in a long time of real pushback. If
Yeah, that's
almost
true.
half of gamers are unwilling to pay full price for a game, that is a big shift.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Like the
For-
thing
for
is
me-
ugh.
sorry, go ahead, dude.
No, man, please go.
All I'm gonna say is, for me, I really don't see myself buying a game brand new on release date again.
I mean,
I really don't
if
see
we were
myself
all
doing that.
making like more than like tripled like more than 100 G's a year, I think we'd be talking differently. But
Yeah.
It's not even the money. It's
oh,
more
that's
the
what it is
time
for me. That
itself.
is 100% what it is for me. It's literally the fact that I can't afford to
true.
pay that much money for multiple games.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it would slow down my purchases that are new. If I was somebody who bought new games, like I could see myself new Spider-Man if it's a full Spider-Man game,
Oh,
and I
they're always
just
going to
got
be.
the
They're always
PS5. I
those
could see.
couple of games.
Yeah,
Like,
like
that's
I
the
would
thing.
buy a couple, and I'd be like, you know what, this price is still worth it. I'm okay.
The question itself isn't
but I'm-
quite accurate. Like the question should be like, for an average game, would you pay? Because there are games that people would pay any. Like Witcher 3, if people knew how good it was, would pay $100 for that game.
100%, exactly. Yeah, and that's kind of what I mean. If it's that, yes, I will pay full price. Witcher 3, the new Spider-Man, that kind of stuff. Would I do it for an average game? Absolutely not. It would actually slow down my
if you don't know what you're getting, like let's say the what's the one that we Scorn, that weird like horror first person shooter thing.
Yeah.
If they told you that one's like $80 for us, I'd be like, I can't justify that.
Not even a little.
Also, Adam, I don't think I can't see you ever playing that game.
That's not the
period.
point, Vish.
Yeah.
It's like any game that you're not like stoked for, $80 is just not an option. But there are people that even if they're like curious about a game would buy it at $70.
Yeah.
Or I guess
I'm
60,
very
60 for the US. I keep hating the fact that most people are going to be thinking this in US terms.
Yeah, true. And the funny part about this is like PlayStation's got PS Plus, including now the PS Plus collection, and they're obviously upping their game with it. Probably because of Game Pass. But there's that, and there's Game Pass. So there's also really, really good alternatives. So they're not really brand new games, but there's really good alternatives to play a shit ton of probably really good games that are maybe 6 months old.
Well, it's the beauty too of, like I said, with backwards compatibility not being that much of an option because of a flood of games. That helps with the idea of not having to pay full price either. There's so much else for you to do.
Yeah, I could only see myself buying 1, maybe 2 games a year, depending on releases of like paying that full new price of
like
$70.
if Final Fantasy 16 comes out next year and looks to be like an actual like good game, then it could potentially be an option.
That is exactly.
Or we don't buy it at launch, but we still buy it at full price if after a week we
games
find out it's good.
Would be an expect.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy is one of those games that would be an exception, though.
Well, actually, for me, no, it wouldn't. Because I don't trust Final Fantasy right now. But if the reviews were amazing for it, like if people were saying, look, this is Final Fantasy back, then that's different, right?
Yeah, I haven't had so much fun playing a Final Fantasy since 10. Boom.
Like if a Chrono game came out, I think we just unconditionally pay, like we pay $200 for it if we had to.
I would pay $2,000.
Well, the last one was Chrono Cross in 1999.
It's been long enough that I think people are almost afraid if one gets announced at this point.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, Square's desperate. I don't know.
Like the best example for me right now is if I wasn't already busy with a bunch of stuff, Trails of Cold Steel 4 would have been a full price purchase for me. It just happens to be in that state where it's like I really can't justify it because of my money situation right now. It's just $70 is not the easiest purchase to make anymore. But I mean, if this was a year ago when I was a lot more comfortable,
we were telling you to get it, dude. We were telling you.
I don't care for the 9,000th time today. Right, like if this is a year ago when I was a little more loose with the purse strings, I wouldn't give a shit. I'd be totally buying it. That's different. It's situational, but I mean, if I had to pay $70 for it, or I guess 80 now, I'd do it if I could. If I could.
And exactly. Like I would do it for that. I'd do it for Final Fantasy if I hear it's really good. A Witcher 4, Cyberpunk, like. If it comes and they're like, yeah, it's amazing. Like these games, I'd still pay the full price. It's just all the other like non like shoe-ins of being an amazing game. I would not even risk it, and I would
even
wait
now,
for,
sometimes you get lucky.
Honestly,
sometimes games go on sale on pre-order. Sometimes you can get Steam games, for example, for like $5-10 off.
Yeah.
Next up, this question becomes really interesting because that was obviously something we were thinking about beforehand. How much will you pay for a next-gen system? $400 was at 16%, $500 was at 62.6%, and $600 was only at 21.4%. So a lot of people were pleasantly surprised to find out they weren't paying $500 or more.
Yeah, I think that these consoles were my limit. Like Canadian, they're $599 or $579 or whatever the heck they are. But like US $499 to me, that's like the highest I'm willing to go for a console where I'm willing to pay,
especially like, one of them rather than both, as you're already doing.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. If they were, I don't know, $100 more, no, I don't think I would have got either of them.
You
to be
might
completely
get
honest.
one, but it wouldn't probably be right away, and it'd probably be like, we'll see what happens if there's like a good package deal for it at some point.
Oh yeah, I'd wait till like Boxing Day or something.
Like that's
where
kind
one
of
them
my
goes on
plan. Like I don't know what my like I might come across like some decent amount of money like in 6 months when my embargo or not embargo. It's like 8-9 months. It's not till June. But you never know. There might be a decent package deal somewhere in the summer that's like, well, it comes with this game. I kind of want to play this game. So it might happen. But I mean, I'm not in a rush now, and that's just because also that a lot of games are on PS4. So, I don't have to rush.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, there is definitely no rush whatsoever unless you're impatient and just want something new like me.
The interesting one next is after PS5 and Xbox Series X release, how long do you expect games to continue coming out for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One? This is a number that I think is weird. And I think the number I think the question also needs to be a little more specific if we're talking exclusives, because only 3 years or more got 12% of the vote. 2 years was at 45 and 1 year is at 42. I think it's different. If we're talking like the biggest games, it should be more than 2 years. But if we're talking like exclusives, I think exclusives should be done after a year. That's a different question.
Yeah, that's yeah.
But like
It's actually hard to tell because,
Mortal
like,
Kombat 12 should not be like if it comes out in 3 years should also be on the PS4. But if we're talking God of War 3, well, I mean even God of War Ragnarok actually at this point, God of War Ragnarok should not be on the current gen. It should be next gen. But we're not talking. But when they say just games in general, it should be more than 2 years. Like I don't like the idea that they might have worded the question differently, and maybe they're just writing it different on the site. But it should be like exclusive games should be 2 years tops, and then after that, like you're getting most of like the major games that are like your Call of Duties, your Assassin's Creeds, like all the games that don't require like very specific hardware or isn't like first party games. That would be different. And also on this thing, they actually said at the bottom of the article, which would have been nice, they should have said at the top of the article, you idiots, it was 8,627 people that responded. So almost 10,000 people.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a pretty big number.
So it's a pretty decent selection.
That's a good amount of people. Yeah. It's a good sample size.
But yeah, like...
Yeah, because if you think of... Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you finish your thing, because I was more going to close this off, so...
Oh, I was just going to say, because like, yeah, like when you think about it, when the PS3 ended and the PS4 started... Yes, like the big AAA games, the Assassin's Creeds and stuff, after a couple years, okay, fine, they were like, okay, yeah, we're no longer going to be on the previous generation because we're trying to be the big AAA, blah, 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 or first party. But like a lot of just average games still existed on the previous generation as well for probably 3-4 years into the PS4's life. It just slowly dwindled where every year there'd be less and less and less until it finally kind of dissipated. But it wasn't 2 years. That's fast. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, I think either the question was worded wrong or just maybe people were just thinking in a different light.
Yeah, some people thinking like exclusives and some were thinking like just games in general.
But like, I think there are still games that get released on the Wii.
Yeah, isn't Just Dance 2020 on the Wii?
I think so.
Yeah.
So like, there are some games that like for 5 years are still pretty common. So I don't know about the 2 years thing.
I believe, was releasing games 14 years after the system was released.
Well, yeah, but TurboGrafx didn't have another console.
Yeah, they were like, please still buy us.
But yeah, I mean, all the numbers that we see here pretty much line up with kind of what I thought for the most part. I mean, specifically tailored to the consoles. There's a couple of ones that I really disagree with. I still think that 31% of people thinking graphics are the most important thing in a generation where we're getting loading times faster than we've ever experienced in the CD age. I think again, like this is the gamer bros that just want to see like how amazing I guess not Colin Kaepernick, but fucking I don't know, like let's say Dak Prescott looks like on the injured reserve right now. Just because I want to hurt Vish's feelings.
His feelings have been destroyed.
You want to see in the highest quality that guy that tripped when he should have had a touchdown the other day.
Oh, I saw that clip. Oh, that was brutal. That poor guy.
Somebody edited a commercial into where the guy like popped up the sprinklers to trip a guy. It was a fucking great edit.
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't see that.
But yeah, I mean, as a whole, like most of that we saw makes perfect sense. The PlayStation 5 clearly will be leading into the first year of the console. because they're gonna make a lot of sales. They're aiming for 100 million again in sales, which I think is easily obtainable. Because I mean, not just the fact that they already did it with the previous console, but because there's always more people every time a new generation comes out. Because gaming is getting more popular, and not to mention that we're getting a bigger every year in population. So there's eventually going to be more dumb fucks that want to play games with the rest, like the rest of us.
Yeah, did you guys hear the stats that came out for PS5 pre-orders?
You'll have to remind me.
PS5, yeah, in 12 hours, the PS5 outsold the first 12 weeks of the PS4.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because people got really mad about the number that they said they were releasing for the PS5, like the number of consoles they were going to make available. And the smart people pointed out, guys, that's more than the PS4 had. It's like we're getting more, guys. It's fine. And not to mention, because we'll probably end up saying some level of this in the next 2 podcasts when we focus on both the Series X and the PS5, because we're going to do some heavy deep dives for those 2 shows.
Oh, I'm so excited for these 2 shows.
Not everybody needs a console on day one, guys. Like you can wait. There's not a crazy need for this. Especially now because all the major games, don't need them. Unless you really want to play Demon Souls Remastered and Ratchet, I don't think you need a PS5 that badly. If you're getting I said this.
I'm not buying Ratchet.
I've said this on Twitter. I've said this on the show. I think I've said this in person in chats. If you can't afford a console, if you have to put this on your credit card, don't. You don't need it. If you have pre-ordered this and you don't have any money in your bank account and you put this on your credit card, fucking cancel your pre-order and be a responsible human being and make the money to get that console later when it's going to be cheaper, comes with some more stuff, and probably has a better library. You don't need to rush into this. That's the key thing. Even if I wasn't boycotting this console, I don't think I was going to get it at launch. Even before, my money situation has been a little bit worse in the last few months. But even before, when I was all hyped up in March about this, I still don't think I was getting it at launch just because I'm I don't have to. There's no need to.
No. And especially since the games are going to be released on current gen.
Well, especially now, yeah. It isn't necessary. If you're getting it, you better be able to more than afford it, and it's just a fun luxury piece for you. That's all this is. But if you're the guy that's I have to get every new thing, if you're the idiot that's going to get the next iPhone, even though they clearly don't want to give you any sort of thing that you should want, then yeah, you're what we call a sucker. That's just plain and simple.
Or a fucking
I think anybody who upgrades their cell phone yearly just needs to stop for a second and ask themselves why the fuck they're doing that.
Do they understand how much money they could be saving? Holy shit.
Yeah, cell phones aren't cheap.
If I could save
Android,
the cost
Apple.
of an iPhone every year, if somebody, instead of buying a phone, somebody just gave me $1,200, you know what the fuck I could do with that? Shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy a phone.
I could buy me a PS5 on launch day.
I wouldn't buy a phone with it. Is somebody buying the consoles right away? Nobody needs to do this. Do not do it.
Don't get me wrong. I think upgrading to the next iPhone every fucking year is stupid. But I think at least keep your phone for at least 2 years.
Keep it as long as that fucker stays alive. That's what I do.
Yeah, at least.
So because
I used to do it every 2 years, but it's stupid.
Every 2 years is fine because essentially your phone is something you use all day, every day.
I don't know. I couldn't justify a grand every 2 years.
There's nothing wrong with a 2-year-old phone.
Fair enough.
If I'm doing the deal where I'm only paying an extra $5-10 a month on top of my phone bill just to get a new phone, that's different because that's what, $120?
Yes.
But the people that are literally standing in line to pay a grand for an iPhone every year, or even every 2 years, that's retarded. I can't support that.
Especially this time, like I said.
Apparently Android's going to do the same, which is not good. That's the rumor, is that the S30 is going to do the same thing. No charger, no headphone jack.
Oh yeah, they're all going to do it. Because
they know they can.
When they got rid of the headphone jacks. Headphone jacks are gone. I hate to say it. In a small way, I get it in the sense of how many of these stupid little USB plugs do I have in my house? 9.
But you should always get one in case for the person who doesn't.
Shit, especially Apples are fucking shit.
So the more important thing really is Google. You have a real chance to really take a good crack at things. Keep your phones with headphone jacks and chargers. You might actually get some real ground made up.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially
Google
headphone
Pixels
jacks.
might
Why get rid of that?
actually gain some ground if they just not be the douchebags. Hey Google,
Well,
become
they
the
already got rid of the headphone jack.
well, yeah, but the Pix. Well, I think the A's always come with them.
Yeah. It's
Oh, you have to get
it's
the
that,
specific one.
It's
Yeah.
that one
Because I think the
where-
3 and the 4 don't, but the 3A and the 4A do.
Oh, okay, that makes
It's that
sense. Yeah, because
one
my fiance
meme.
has a 4, but there's no. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm just saying,
No,
Google,
it-
become the Xbox of phones.
Yeah.
It's that one meme where it's a statue of Buddha saying, "Try not to be a cunt, Buddha." So Google,
Yeah.
try not to be a cunt.
I don't know if Google's the one I'd put my faith in. and
Well,
I have
what
a
are your
good reason,
choices at
guys.
this point?
Google.
Well, it's just
Samsung,
think of-
It's Apple, Samsung,
Who
and
made-
what?
iPhone.
Guys, just who made Stadia?
Fair enough.
I know.
Fair enough.
But what are
Be
your other
careful with
options?
your trust.
What are your other options?
Not landline.
Your other options are as followed: Huawei, which at this point doesn't seem like it's going to even be allowed in
Ooh.
this country, or
Yeah, I'd rather not
Motorola,
have the headphone jack.
or Motorola.
Let's all get a Razer. Done.
Because
Well, I think
BlackBerry
you're
ain't
making
around
a-
no more.
I think they're making a foldable.
Hey, BlackBerry was
Razer.
good. Oh, I miss BlackBerry. They were good.
Did you ever have a BlackBerry, dude?
No, but I loved goofing around on everybody else's. I had a flip phone for like 10 years, and then I had no phone until the iPhone like 6.
Yeah, my last
was-
phone
I
before
was-
this one, like I
Yeah.
was flip phones all the way up until I think like 25. I was using flip phones.
I used my BlackBerry a lot when I had it, and but at a certain point, I'm like, you can't do that much anymore.
I truly believe that society was better off with flip phones than smartphones.
Yeah.
I think that smartphones are like fucking killing all of us.
Oh, I still gotta
Like,
watch
I just
the.
need like our minds.
Oh, what's that fucking documentary? The Social something.
Yeah, the social dilemma.
Thank you.
I honestly, I'm not gonna.
I fully
bother.
agree. I fully agree with
not-
like the message of
Oh
that
my
film.
god, it is.
It's not.
Yeah,
even
it
the
is
fact
bad, but
of,
it's true.
like, it's not even the fact that it's not like I don't disagree with it or anything. It's just, it's honestly there's so much depressing shit going on right now. I don't need anything else.
Yeah,
to
but I
just
mean,
make me
like
feel
I've
worse.
I actually didn't
I've
find
seen,
it depressing.
I've seen the worst of it. I've seen 11-year-old girls like literally talking at the table eating food, being like, "Yeah, I only got like 50 likes on this one. Am I ugly?" And I'm like, "Holy fuck!" And like, this is kids still.
Actually, I heard though. I saw the worst thing today. Somebody posted on, I forget what it was. It was probably Instagram, saying, "I heard 14-year-olds saying, I can't wait till I'm 18 and can start my OnlyFans account to get some extra money." A fucking 14-year-old said this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you know how many times people went asking
Smartphones are
for
killing
it.
us.
You know how many fucking creeps have been on that person.
Yep, and also it's
yeah.
the other the other thing that's going on right now is that, like with this OnlyFans account thing, there's this post going around back in the day that like a few months ago actually saying, when you purchase from a small business, you're not helping a CEO buy a third vacation home. You're helping a family provide for their children. So now there's this new joke meme, and I don't think it's a joke meme. When you purchase from an OnlyFans account, you're helping a hot girl get groceries. It's like, are you literally fucking kidding me?
But
I
it's
mean,
true though.
I mean, that's the reality. Again, this is what
It
happens.
is the reality.
I mean, not to bring it into politics, but this is what happens when we have a system that literally just makes the greedy the ones that run. So,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
but speaking of greedy, we've taken up way too much of people's time with this podcast.
Yeah,
They
like
bring
ours.
us to the PS2 anniversary.
We're at 2.5 hours. Like, fuck. I knew it was going to
Yeah,
be
I know.
long. So
Oh yeah.
it is what it is. I need to fucking go to sleep soon because I got to wake up in like 7 hours. Fucking Christ.
So do I.
Why the hell
But
do I
I'm
say
gonna
yes to
play-
7 a.m. shifts? What is wrong with me?
I have the same, but
Oh,
I'm
you're
gonna go
doing
play
the
Warcraft.
7 a.m. shifts?
What?
I thought you were doing 11 to 7, not 7 a.m.s.
No, I'm doing 7 to 3 or 7 to 3. No, fuck. Sorry, I wake up at 7. My brain's fucked up. I don't go to work till like 8:45, but I wake up at 7 because I'm a responsible person. Not like the
That is
people that you
very
see driving around the highway because they're late for the 9,000th time this month.
Doing their makeup in the car.
No, just being a jackass because they feel like if they save 7 seconds off their drive, they made it.
Yeah, fuck
Right.
those people. Fuck them.
I usually just I'll check Google in the morning, ask them how's my drive to work. I see anything more than 20 minutes, I will leave right away.
I basically give myself 20 minutes extra every time I leave. So
Smart.
But anyways, that is the VCR podcast. I ain't plugging anything because I already did it on the show. If you made it 45 minutes in, you don't need to know anymore. So you got everything. So thank you so much for checking us out. Next week, we will be taking a serious deep dive into the Xbox Series X and S as it goes to launch the following week. If there are any like big stories during that time, we'll talk about those briefly. But like small stuff is not going to really probably make the show next week. So, or at least the next 2 weeks for that matter.
Yeah.
So, So can we not have like a lot of crazy shit happen for the next 2 weeks? That'd be super cool. I don't want a 3-hour podcast.
I feel like the only crazy shit will be the console launches.
I hope. I really do.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be crazy. Sony's gonna buy Disney, Microsoft's gonna buy Valve, Nintendo's gonna buy Apple. It's gonna be all kinds of fucked up.
And Madden's gonna buy all of them.
Nope. No, they won't.
EA doesn't have the money.
I will kill them. I will personally
If they
kill them.
do, I'm quitting my hobby.
In Minecraft, I'll
Turn
personally
the
kill them.
podcast into something to do
Just
with
so everybody's clear, in Minecraft, I will personally kill them.
If this happens,
So-
we are all quitting our hobby and we're making this podcast about agriculture. That's
So
what we're doing.
This is the last episode of the VCR podcast, as Adam will be going for his murder trial.
Fuck it,
after
let's
next-
do a podcast in Minecraft.
I would do that. 100% I would do that.
Well, plans for
God,
another
that'd be
day, I
so good.
suppose. So, with that being said, this is episode 48 of the VCR podcast. Thank you so much for checking us out. We will be back next week. I don't know what time anymore. That's why I don't put it on the page anymore, because I have no idea what our start time is anymore.
We start between 8 to 9, friends.
I'll try to remember to post on Twitter
Between
to
8
let
and
you guys a heads up. But
We usually do 8 to 9 at least.
well, we were supposed to always do 8, and then apparently we don't want to do 8 anymore. So
True.
with that
That
being
was my
said,
bad. I'm not even gonna. deny that.
it's always your bad. That's literally the title. The title of the show should be "Vish is bad."
Yeah,
You know
he
I'm
is.
bad. I'm bad.
At least he's not Randall. Jesus, that guy is a man bitch.
Fucking Randall. Oh my god.
That's the title of the podcast. Everybody hates Randall. Done. Podcast is closed.
Yep.
Episode 48 in the books. Thank you so much for checking out the VCR podcast, and we will see you guys next week.